earned over $11 billion in total recoveries for his clients. And now with sportsbettingclaim.com, he'd like to help you. Michael has been a leader in some of the largest and most complex cases in the country, from defective cars and tires to damaging drugs and medical products. He has always represented the rights of individuals harmed by large corporations. His efforts recently resulted in the recovery of billions for individuals who lost their properties to fires carelessly caused by electric companies and others. Michael knows that sports betting companies preyed on and manipulated consumers into losing their life savings, and he wants to make them pay. If you have suffered financial hardship as a result of online sports betting and would like help seeking compensation, please submit your claim information for evaluation at sportsbettingclaim.com. Michael Watts is focused on winning for you. sportsbettingclaim.com.
Do you need to sell your home? If you've sold a home before, you remember how stressful and expensive it was. Sold.com is here to help you sell your home for the most money and with the least amount of stress. There are new ways to sell your home that you've never heard of before. Did you know there are companies who'll offer you cash for your home? Did you know you could trade in your home for a new one? Did you know there are realtors who'll sell your home for a flat fee instead of an expensive commission? It's true. Sold.com services are free. So if you're looking to sell, make this free phone call right now and learn how your next home sale can be faster and easier than you ever thought possible. Pick up your cell phone and call right now. 800-251-7816. 800-251-7816. 800-251-7816. That's 800-251-7816.
Hello, Americans. It's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Call right now. 800-943-9215. 800-943-9215. 800-943-9215. Again, for the last time, that's 800-943-9215.
Titillating Sports with Rick Tittle. Rick Tittle is a genius, the best show ever. He's so wonderful, genius, the best show ever. He's so wonderful. Titillating Sports with Rick Tittle. Rick Tittle he's so handsome, he's a genius.
I am so
Welcome to the Ohio High School Athletic Association Radio Network's production of the OHSAA Football State Championships. And now, live from Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio, it's time for the State Championship broadcast on the OHSAA Radio Network.
It's a frosty December morning in the company of our great football heroes. Canton, Ohio, the birthplace of the National Football League, the home of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, where the legends of the game will be celebrated for all time. This weekend, the Hall showcases the stars of tomorrow as we prepare to crown a new high school state champion. The Tarblooders from Glenville High School in Cleveland, led by Ohio Mr. Football finalist and Buckeye linebacker commit Sincere Johnson. They aim for a third state title in the last 4 years, and it certainly won't come easy. Standing in their way, an offensive juggernaut from Richland County. This year's Mr. Football runner-up, one of the all-time great Ohio high school quarterbacks, Braden DeVito, leads the Whippets of Shelby High School in their quest to capture a first state championship in school history. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. I'm Brendan Gulick. Today's state championship game features two teams quite worthy of this stage. Glenville is magnificent. Of course, they have the rich NFL tradition that football fans are so familiar with. But this year's team might be their best yet. They have a powerful rushing attack, a punishing defense, and they just knocked out the defending state champions last week in thrilling fashion. Shelby has eviscerated its opposition this year. They're winning by an average of 37 points per night. Braden DeVito is the fourth leading passer in Ohio high school history. Over 12,800 yards through the air. He has accounted for 205 touchdowns. The Whippets, they're unbeaten. But how will their historic offense handle this Tarblooders' suffocating defense? In just a few hours, a new king will be crowned in an amphitheater built for football immortality. Ryan Baker, Chris Solecki join our coverage after this break as our countdown to kickoff show commences. You're listening to the Division IV state championship game on the OHSAA radio network, fueled by chocolate milk.
You practice hard, you play hard, you're always reaching for your goals. You reach for the next point, the next yard, the next win. And after the game, reach for low-fat chocolate milk. It has the fluids to rehydrate you, the right mix of protein and carbs to refuel you, and the vitamins and minerals to help you build strong bones and bodies. Fuel up with chocolate milk. For more information, visit drink-milk.com.
Yes! Big money bet right there.
Dad, what's a big money bet? Can I do it?
Well, sweetie, betting is risky, so it's only for adults.
But I want to win money too.
I won this time, but I don't always win. That's why it's called gambling, and it's not for kids, okay?
Okay.
Let's just watch the game.
Youth who gamble are 4 times more likely to experience a gambling disorder as an adult. Be aware, check for risks, guide their choices, help prevent youth gambling. Visit ChangeTheGameOhio.org.
At the Ohio High School Athletic Association, our student athletes are going pro at being
Coachable. A good student.
Responsible.
Dependable.
Respectful. A good student.
Dependable.
A good teammate.
Representing my school.
I'm going pro at being a good student.
Let's go pro at respecting the game.
Respect the game.
Respect the game.
Respect the game.
Man, I loved playing high school sports growing up. And it's fun being a fan now, don't get me wrong, but sitting in the stands feels like I'm missing out on all the action, you know? I wanted to get back in the game. So I signed up to be a high school official. It takes me back to my playing days. I'm supporting students, and I get paid to make the big calls. Do you want to see the game up close? Sign up to become an official in Ohio at highschoolofficials.com.
Check out the OHSAA on social media. Follow at OHSAA Sports on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Close your eyes and think December football. We've got at least clear skies. I guess that's the good omen, right? Otherwise, it is a freezing cold morning for the Division IV state championship game as Glenville and Shelby get ready to tango at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Let's bring in Ryan Baker for the first time. Ryan, a Glenville team that is looking for state title number 3. They finally got that monkey off their back a couple of years ago. The question is, can they handle defensively, can they handle one of the all-time great offenses?
Well, Brendan, happy to be here with you this morning, and it's a lot easier to handle that offense when you've got guys like Sincere Johnson and Jameer Perez who are going to be playing their college football next year about 2 hours and 15 minutes south of here down in Columbus at the Horseshoe, as those guys just both committed to Ohio State this week. The thing for Glenville's defense here, they've obviously got the talent. They've got those two we just talked about. They've also got C.J. Newell in that backfield defensively, who's going to Bowling Green. They've got Aaron Scales, who has got an Akron offer, another kid there that plays that kind of safety / linebacker type of position. They've got DeAndre Taylor, who's going to Kent State. They've got the athletes. They've got the guys that can handle this Shelby offense. The key for them is going to be staying disciplined. Stay in your lanes, read your keys, don't go for fakes, don't go for the RPO. You know DeVito's going to get his, but just try to contain him, keep him from that monster play.
Newell got a little banged up last week, played some of the game but did not return, and so Glenville offensively leaned on junior running back Devon McDougal, who had a 3-touchdown night, a huge lift for that offense, led by Arvell Nelson, who is a more than capable quarterback, plenty athletic in his own right. You alluded to the fact they've got a couple of talented MAC-level wide receivers in Elijah Harden, in Paulie Sadler and in Joseph Saffold. But that defense has been excellent, averaging only about 10 points per game against them this year. Sincere is their anchor. He's their guy, but it is a good group. All right, let's pause for these messages from your local station. You're listening to the OHSAA Radio Network.
Welcome to the home of Gridiron Legends, the newly renovated Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. Walk among the immortals of football inside the Hall of Fame gallery. Here you can stand face to face with the men who built America's game. Relive the greatest moments of Super Bowl history in the Lamar Hunt Super Bowl gallery and stand before the Vince Lombardi Trophy, while the NFL Today gallery is home to the NFL's most recent record-breaking moments. Plan your visit to the Pro Football Hall of Fame today at profootballhof.com.
This is what matters. This is beyond X's and O's. This is the difference mutual respect makes. This is what character looks like. This is what defines us in Ohio. This is sportsmanship. School sports. It's not the outcome that matters most, but the way the games are played. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Hey, sports fan! Did you know the OHSAA is among the national leaders in social media? Check out the OHSAA's social media platforms for news, tournament information, accomplishments, helpful links, and all the items available in the fan guide, including photos, DVDs, and publications. Check out OHSAA Sports on Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram. And who knows, you may be the next featured face.
So when you get to the corner of Smith and Orchard, you're going to want to take a
You
left.
are not going to
Then
believe
what you're
this.
going to do is turn
Marcy
onto
and Brad
Avenue
just broke up,
and go
and
past the
apparently
first 3
she's
lights,
happy
and then
about
take
it.
the next left.
I don't really
And
think
drive
she's
5 more
happy,
blocks,
but
and you should be
who am
there.
I to judge, right?
Park on the
Anyway,
right.
that's
I'll
what
see
I
you
heard
later
last
tonight.
night.
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Our countdown to kickoff show continues before the Division IV state championship game. So we turn our attention to the Whippets of Shelby High School in their first ever appearance in a state championship game. And when I tell you that this offense is for real, I want to underscore it with something really impressive here. About 4 years ago, former Winford head coach Gabe Helbert left his head coaching role because he wanted to get back to his roots. He wanted to be an offensive coordinator. You don't often hear head coaches that want to go back and be coordinators. But his arrival at Shelby coincided with the freshman campaign of the soon-to-be incredible Braden DeVito. And what they have done over 4 years is truly remarkable. 51 games, they're 41-10, certainly been successful. This offense has racked up almost 23,000 yards in those 51 games. That's more than 450 yards per game, regularly playing with a running clock in a 48-minute high school football game. That is wild.
It's very impressive, and it's all led by their quarterback, Braden DeVito. Finished runner-up to Mr. Football this year to Grady Kinsey. How crazy is that Grady Kinsey, Braden DeVito, the top two, and Mr. Ohio football, both going to Air Force next year to play their college football. Braden DeVito, a great year this year. He's accounted for 69 touchdowns. He's thrown for 41. He's rushed for 26. He's had 2 defensive scores as well. In his career, Brendan, he's thrown for over 12,000 yards and rushed for over 4,500. You just don't see those numbers in high school football very often.
He's 199 yards away from 13,000 for his career, and what's most remarkable to me about Braden is his willingness to play on both sides of the ball. He loves to play defense too. He has intercepted more passes as a corner than he's thrown as a quarterback this year, including 2 picks last week, one of which he brought back for a touchdown. And it's more than just about Braden DeVito, but the reality is this kid is must watch when you're out looking for good high school football in the area. All right, let's check in with a third member of our broadcast crew, Chris Solwecki, with more on the Shelby Whippets.
When you talk about some gaudy numbers, here's one for you that we haven't talked about yet. This Shelby Whippet defense has only allowed 115 first downs the entire season. That's a little more than 8 first downs per game. That is ridiculous. So when you talk about all the great weapons on offense, that's for real. But this defense is for real as well.
And it's almost unfair to this defense. As Chris mentioned, how good they're playing. They average less than 9 points given up a game this year. Sam Wirtz, Defensive Player of the Year, not only in their conference, but in their league or their district as well. This defense is so good, but they don't get any headlines because their offense is just that much better.
Wirtz and Samsel have combined for 260 tackles this season, and the reality is Rob Mahaney, their head coach, told me before the game today he's actually more proud of what they've accomplished defensively than what they've done on the offensive side of the ball, especially after sustaining 2 season-ending injuries before the year started. All right, let's pause for these messages from the Ohio High School Athletic Association. We continue to make our way toward kickoff. You're listening to the OHSAA Radio Network, brought to you by Chocolate Milk.
Here's to the ones who put in the work, the no days off, rise and grind warriors who live by the oath of my body is my temple. And when their temple needs to rebuild after a long workout, athletes of all types choose low-fat chocolate milk. It's delicious and contains the right mix of protein and carbs to help refuel exhausted muscles. Chocolate milk turns Motivation Monday into Flex Friday. Crush your goals with the help of a real recovery drink. Try it for yourself. Built with chocolate milk. The official beverage of high school sports is brought to you by the American Dairy Association Mideast.
Hey, Ohio, not every injury happens on the field. Car wrecks, hospital mistakes, slip and falls. When you're hurt, you need more than a quick sub off the bench. You need America's largest injury law firm. There's a reason Morgan & Morgan has over 1,000 lawyers and 100 offices nationwide. A reason we've recovered more than $30 billion for people just like you. And a reason we never charge a dime unless we win. Morgan & Morgan, proud sponsor of Ohio High School Athletics. Injured? Just dial pound law. Morgan & Morgan, Ohio office located at 600 Vine Street, Cincinnati. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Okay, here are 3 important reasons why your son or daughter should play a sport in high school.
Number 1.
High school sports teach valuable life lessons like self-discipline and time management skills.
2.
Teens who play a high school sport have better grade point averages.
And number 3.
High school sports are safer than ever before.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
School sports are played by humans, coached by humans, and officiated by humans. So the next time you're sitting in the stands at a school athletic event, please remember this and maintain your humanity, especially when it comes to judging and critiquing athletes, coaches, and officials. Please show your fellow humans some respect. They'll appreciate your empathy.
This message presented by the OHSAA and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The following is a broadcast presentation of the Ohio High School Athletic Association.
Shelby High School Band is taking the field with their pregame festivities as we inch closer and closer to kicking off the 2025 Division IV State Championship game. Brendan Gulick, Ryan Baker, Chris Solwecki continuing our pregame coverage as we inch closer to kickoff. Ryan, let's just go maybe 10,000-foot view here. If Shelby is going to win this game today, how important is it in your eyes that they get off to a fast start?
I think that's huge for them, especially because we talked about, just you and I pregame, this is something Glenville is used to.
Sure.
They've been here a lot over the course of their program. They're going for their third state championship in the last 4 years. Shelby, this is their first time ever here, so you got to think maybe there's some nerves, some uneasiness with being in a position they've never been, a stadium they've never been, having to do things that they've never done before. So it is very important to weather that storm at the beginning. It's also different when you play a team like Glenville. I don't know if Shelby's played a team quite like them. Coach Rob Mahaney said, we've played teams that do certain things like them and then other teams that do other things like them. So I think we've kind of played them throughout playing everyone on our schedule, but you haven't put the whole package together like you have with Glenville. So weathering that storm at the beginning is key.
Shelby has never played in this game, but they did have an invitation here earlier this year by the Pro Football Hall of Fame after they had worked lots of camps locally. The Hall of Fame said, hey, why don't you come on over and have seats down on the field for the induction ceremony? And from that moment forward, they thought, gee, why don't we try to end our season here as well? All right, let's pause for another break. These messages are brought to you here on your local stations. You are listening to the OHSAA Radio Network.
Spectrum News 1, a new kind of news channel dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering communities across the Buckeye State. With your local forecast every 10 minutes and all of the essential news you need 24/7. Plus, in-depth shows and exclusives focused on your community. Always Ohio, always refreshing, always on. We are Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
You wanted to be a teacher when you were little, but as you grew up, things changed. Teaching just didn't seem like the best option anymore, so you decided to become something else. But what would your 12-year-old self say? Interesting and innovative things are happening in teaching today, so it's time to put it back on your list. Don't try to convince yourself otherwise. You had it right the first time.
Find out how you can make more at teach.org. Make more. Teach. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
The game is over, but this time, instead of asking how many goals did you score or what were your stats, try asking these questions. Were you a good teammate? Were you coachable? Did you give 100%? And did you have fun? Because those are the values that school sports instill in Ohio's young people, where winning and losing are secondary to the life lessons that will stay with kids long after their playing days are over. This is the Ohio High School Athletic Association. Educate through sports.
They are role models and educators. Their work requires a great deal of time and energy for very little pay. Who are these unsung heroes?
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
The simple truth about education-based athletics in Ohio is this. Without a committed team of coaches and administrators, it just wouldn't be possible. School sports, they bring out the best in all of us. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The Shelby Whippets have taken the field at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium, decked out in their red tops and scarlet pants in their biggest game in the history of Shelby football. Yes, they had back-to-back undefeated seasons in the mid-'60s, but they have never gotten to this stage. And I'm telling you, their whole community is here. I feel like the whole town of Shelby has shut down today. Everybody has made the trip, and albeit a short one, to Canton. Glenville is on its way into the tunnel as well. The OHSAA Radio Network would like to welcome our great affiliates, including WQEL 92.7 FM in Bucyrus, WMMS HD2 99.1 FM in Cleveland, Akron's WHLO AM 640, and in Athens, WATH 97.3. And as a reminder, all OHSAA Radio Network broadcasts are also available on your computer, tablet, or mobile device by logging onto the OHSAA Radio Network page at ohsaa.org. You can feel the tension building between these two teams. It's a little bit weird playing a morning football game for a state championship, but goodness gracious. If you need any extra juice to get up for a game like this, you're playing the wrong sport, as the Tarblooders take the field from off in the West End, decked out in their all whites. And let me tell you, this team looks all business.
They just look the part running out that tunnel. All the confidence and swagger in the world with them. Although Shelby the same way. They looked very fired up and ready for this game as well. Rob Mahaney talked about that, Brendan, having a morning game. They were coming here last night, staying the night. He's like, I don't know how it's going to be waking up and playing that game in the morning because they haven't done it yet. Although you think as kids grow up, there's a lot of games, youth league games that are in the morning. A lot of times JV games are in the morning. Although if you're Braden DeVito, you don't know what JV is because you've been the starter for 4 years on varsity. But both of these teams, again, and that's one of the things you have to – Glenville's done this before. Shelby hasn't. How does that change things at the start?
Those 2 days in the late summertime feel like an awfully long time ago. The 90 degrees that used to have sweat pouring out, now replaced by chattering teeth and looking for anything you can to keep warm down on the sideline. The temperature in Canton, well, the Weather Channel says it's 20 degrees. I beg to differ. I think it's significantly colder, certainly in the shade, with snow piles that are pushed all the way to the exterior of the field. All right, let's turn it over to our public address announcer for the playing of our national anthem.
Formed by the Shelby Whippet Marching Band under the direction of Cassandra McCall.
All the pomp and circumstance is now in the rearview mirror, and it's time to play football. Glenville on the near sideline, Shelby across the way on the far sideline. In this, I think still fair to call it, relatively newly renovated complex here, Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium, this entire Hall of Fame village at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I hope you've been here. If you've never been here, it is must stop to come over and come see the football greats that are enshrined and immortalized for all time. It is one of the coolest museums you're going to find.
Every year, Brendan, we come up here. I look forward to see the new piece that Hall of Fame Village has. We've got the Ferris wheel over there now. We've got the hotel being built out in the distance there just past the Hall of Fame. And you mentioned the pomp and circumstance and the stars of yesteryear, the stars of tomorrow. Warren Moon out on the field right now greeting the teams as they get ready to play this D4 state championship game.
Always special to have a gold jacket in town for games of this magnitude, because for these guys, and for so many of them, it's the biggest game they will ever play in. Glenville won the toss. They've chosen to defer to the second half. At the moment, the Tarblooders are still on the sideline. Shelby's so ready to go, they're already out on the field. I think they beat the band off the field.
I think they did too. And interesting to note, Glenville, you mentioned in the white uniforms today. They are the home team, though. There's just a little switch of uniforms in this game, as normally the home team would wear that darker jersey. So Glenville in those all-white uniforms, Shelby in the red and gray.
Sam Jones, our referee, Nathan Lee, Andre Bumpus, Brian Freeney, Trevor Lutz, and Kurt Schuley, the rest of our officials. We talked about how important it would be for this vaunted Shelby offense to try to start fast. They have the third-ranked scoring offense in Division IV out of 104 teams, averaging almost 47 points per game. And they're going to have their best player on the football field right from the outset. Glenville, meanwhile, historically, they're known for their speed and their physicality. Special teams have not always been a strength, and so that's something to keep an eye on today as Any-Year Lemon gets the ball and puts it on the tee at the 40-yard line and then lines it up. Back deep to receive for Shelby High School is Caden Paz and Branson Reed. Left to right, Glenville will kick it away. Here we go, the 2025 state championship game underway with a low wobbly kick that bounces at the 21, fielded at the 17 on one hop. It's brought forward by Kaysen Cook up across the 35-yard line where he is swallowed by a number of Tarblooders. And so here comes the Shelby offense. Braden DeVito, who, by the way, in addition to the ridiculous throwing stats, is only 73 yards shy of breaking Shelby's career rushing record as a quarterback. This kid has done it all. He guides his team out onto the field. Gavin Baker is his lead tailback. He's got Brady Bowman, Avery Lambert, Gavin Miller as his top receiving targets. Brady Bowman's had a magnificent season. They'll go trips to the left here with the ball on the right hash as they go 1st and 10 from the 33-yard line. Tight ends on the far side, that's Michael Shepard. 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers. Out of the gun, looking left, quickly, firing incomplete, shy of the 40, looking to get in sync early with Brady Bowman, 2nd and 10.
One of the things Coach Mahaney talked about DeVito was he has this innate ability to throw on the run. You see it right there. The very first play, he does a couple steps near side, throws it on the run, just a little behind his receiver, Bowman.
One of DeVito's first jobs is find number 8 defensively, the great Sincere Johnson, who's lining up right now just left of center at linebacker. 4-2-5 defense, 2 receivers split either direction. Now they tighten up on the right side, 2nd and 10, no score, second play of the game. This time they fake the handoff and DeVito goes powering straight ahead, running up the seam. He picks up 2 before being tackled by Johnson. 3rd and 8.
You see Jameer Perez in the middle of that defensive line. We talked about him going to Ohio State. He does a great job there. He doesn't get the tackle, but he really closed up that hole, slowed down DeVito before he could get to that second level.
Paz and Miller come off the sideline for this 3rd and 8. They go way out wide to the left. Again, ball's on the right hash as Shelby goes from right to left. DeVito claps, takes the snap, gets out of the pocket when he wasn't under pressure, ran into trouble, shook it off, threw it down the field. It is caught near the sticks. A violent collision. It's a 1st down. Brady Bowman caught the pass. He got stung by Aaron Scales. Great play on both ends.
You see there the dangerous ability of DeVito with his feet to not only run the football but extend plays. And you can tell him and Bowman have played pitch and catch a lot. Bowman coming back to help his his quarterback out.
Travis Sloan is in the game at tailback instead of Gavin Baker here. Little surprised to see DeVito bail on the pocket as quickly as he did, but a huge 3rd down conversion. And so they'll set it on the left hash now of the 44-yard line, 1st and 10. Wing back to the left. They hand the ball to Sloan. It's pitched back to the quarterback. DeVito rolls to his right and chucks it deep down the sideline out of bounds with no one anywhere near the football. He was way outside the pocket. Just got rid of it incomplete. 2nd and 10.
Interesting play there on the flea flicker, but they didn't have a lot of receivers downfield. The only one I really saw downfield was Avery Lambert. He had 4 white jerseys around him, nowhere for DeVito to throw.
And listen, that's pretty typical of the Shelby offense. They want to do a lot of things to make you think defensively. It's not just leaning on their creativity and athleticism. They'll do some goofy trick plays, and we'll see if Glenville can be disciplined. 2nd and 10 from the 44-yard line, moving right to left. No score here early 1st quarter. DeVito, hard count, fakes the handoff, throws an out route to the right, and it's broken up. Incomplete at the 45-yard line. Great closing speed by Jalen Edwards.
Beautiful anticipation by Edwards, just a sophomore, got a lot of playing time as a freshman last year for this Glenville team. He had a receiver going long, but he realized the route was underneath, broke off of the guy going long, coming up to break that pass up.
So it sets up 3rd down and 10. Shelby trying to convert on a 2nd consecutive 3rd down. They've got 2 to the left, 2 tight to the right. Defense with 3 down linemen. They motion Sloan out of the backfield, way flanked out to the right. DeVito's under duress, steps up in the pocket, trying to be patient. He avoids 2 sacks and then gets hit by a third guy and finally goes down. Glenville's relentless pressure gets to him. It's a loss of 6, and it's coming up 4th down.
We talked about Glenville being disciplined. Great job by Kalen Bailey there on the edge as DeVito sidestepping people and going around to just kind of keep him in front of him and not let him go anywhere. DeAndre Taylor was over there doing the same.
So Shelby's opening drive picks up a 1st down, but ultimately stalls out. Michael Shepard is in to punt it away. Their tight end and defensive end also does the kicking duties. He might even help with the water coolers on the sideline in between plays as he hits this one end over end, bouncing. Oh, it takes a huge hop over the returner, rolling down the 10, down the 5. It sits at the 4. That is an incredible break. Their punt returner, Jaquan Gibson, thought he would play it on a short hop. The ball took a funny bounce over his head, and it cost him 30 yards.
I don't know if I've ever seen a punt like that. It was end over end, so you knew it was going to get some kind of roll. That thing probably bounced 15 feet in the air as Edwards came up there to try to receive that kick. What a play, or Gibson to receive that punt. What a kick from Shepard.
Unbelievable. So after the 3rd down sack from Kalen Bailey, Shelby's defense comes out onto the field here, 1st and 10. Glenville's got it. They go under center from their own 4. And hand the football off, plunging straight ahead. Good news there, Devon McDougal is in the game here early on. Took a lot of carries last week. He plunges ahead for 1. 2nd and 9 coming up for Arvell Nelson and company.
Glenville is still, at its core, a downhill power-running team, but they're really good when they have space. And when you can pin a team inside the 5, they don't have that space. The field shrinks for them.
Paulie Sedler and Joseph Saffold go out wide to the right. Nelson under center with 2 tight ends and a tailback behind him. This is not McDougal this time. They bring Chris Newell into the games. They change running backs, and he marches straight ahead, pushing forward to the 10-yard line before tackled by a whole group of Shelby Whippets.
Chris Newell's a guy that rushed for over 1,000 yards last year for this Glenville team. Really hasn't been in the backfield much. He's been focusing on defense, focusing on safety. But when a state championship's on the line, it's all hands on deck.
Glenville's got some pretty big dudes up front, including, you mentioned, Jameer Perez, the future Buckeye. 6'4", 321 is their left guard. They run behind him again. Once more, Newell trying to shake off a tackle. He's near the sticks, needed the 14, running up between the numbers and the hashes. Let's just see where they mark it. I think he's short.
It's going to be really close here, but I think he is going to be just a little bit short. That left side of the line with Marcus Whipple and Jameer Perez, those are not bad guys to have paving the way for you.
No doubt about it. I think I could run behind them.
I mean, let's not stretch it here, Brendan. Let's not stretch it.
Maybe not at 10:30 in the morning.
Those hips loosen up.
Eventually, maybe, if it can warm up. Glenville is ready to punt the football away, and they bring on Enier Lemon, who is standing at his own 1-yard line. How about the job by the Shelby defensive front early on to stuff Glenville with flags out near midfield, I believe, for a delay of game. Or did they get a timeout off? Yeah, just in the nick of time. Ted Ginn Sr. and his coaching staff called for a timeout. Big break. 7:32 left in the opening quarter. No score.
It's going to be interesting to see here. You mentioned Lemon with his feet on the 1-yard line. The ball's only out there at about the 12, 13-yard line, so he doesn't have the full 15. Be interesting to see with the shorter distance there. Maybe Shelby comes after this, put some pressure on him, try to get to the punt.
I don't think that we necessarily anticipated that this game could turn into a low-scoring, duke it out, knockdown, drag out kind of fight. I think both these offenses have shown lots of impressive ability throughout the course of the year, but 2 really good defensive starts for both sides. Of course, Glenville well tested. They've played Massillon, Olentangy Liberty, the defending D1 champ. They played Avon, they played St. Ed's, Archbishop Hoban. Glenville's ready for the big stage. Okay, ready to go. They punt the football away from their own 1-yard line. A high wobbling kick that lands and takes a bad Glenville bounce. Checks up at the 35-yard line where they down it themselves. No return for Shelby. The punt ended up netting about 25 yards, and it's going to be 1st down and 10 for Shelby in plus territory. Let's pause for these messages from the Ohio High School Athletic Association. You're listening to the OHSAA Radio Network, fueled by chocolate milk.
Welcome to today's game. This is Paul Keels, and you know how much I love broadcasting the Buckeyes, but I also love high school sports. On behalf of the OHSAA, let's all do our part to set a good example and make this a fun and safe experience for the kids involved. I know this game means so much to the players, coaches, and fans, but high school sports are about much more than the wins and losses. They teach life lessons that will be with the players long after their playing days are over. Good luck to both teams, and remember to respect the game.
You practice hard, you play hard, you're always reaching for your goals. You reach for the next point, the next yard, the next win. And after the game, reach for low-fat chocolate milk. It has the fluids to rehydrate you, the right mix of protein and carbs to refuel you, and the vitamins and minerals to help you build strong bones and bodies. Fuel up with chocolate milk. For more information, visit drink-milk.com.
Why do they officiate? For some, it's a way of staying involved in a sport they grew up with. For others, it's a way to pay it forward by helping kids who play today and tomorrow. It's also a great way to stay active, make extra money, and work with friends. And all of them will say it boils down to one thing: the love of the game. Find your reasons and log on to OHSAA.org to find out how to become an official. You'll be glad you did. This is the Ohio High School Athletic Association. Educate through sports.
This is former Buckeye Tyvus Powell. You're listening to the State Football Championships on the OHSAA Radio Network.
Glenville and Shelby scoreless from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. 7:24 left in the opening quarter. Let's go down and check in with Chris Leckie.
Well, the energy at these state championship games is always great. The fans always come out in droves. It's always a lot of fun. But I'm standing here on the Shelby sideline right now looking up at the crowd, and I can't see more than a handful of empty seats across these stands. There are so many people who have come out for the Whippets today. This may be the biggest crowd on one side or the other that I've seen in the 3 or 4 years that I've done this. They've come out en masse for their team today.
It wouldn't surprise me if businesses were shut down all across Shelby. Listen, they have supported this team like crazy with police escorts and virtual ticker tape parades before they've even gotten to the state final. This means a lot to Shelby High School and their community, and their defense has gotten off to a good start. We have run a total of 9 plays for a total of 13 yards between those first 2 drives. Shelby's got it in great field position as they start on the plus 35-yard line after Glenville got backed way up and had a somewhat poor punt. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Whippets from the 35-yard line on Glenville's side of the field. They move right to left in their red tops and gray pants, gray helmets here in the first quarter. All right, whistle blows. We are ready for play. 4-receiver look to either direction. Ball's right in the middle of the hashes. DeVito had a running back to his right that flinched a little and a right tackle that moved. And so everybody's going to back up 5 yards. They'll hit Colton Sexton.
That's one thing if you're Shelby, and this is going to be a tight game. You can't have those unforced errors and penalties like that.
Brennan DeVito, how does his heart rate start to manage a little bit better here as this game goes along? I think he had happy feet early on. 4 down linemen defensively. These guys look hungry, and they're ready to come after him. It is 1st and 15. DeVito puts the ball in his own hands, throws behind his receiver across the middle on a little drag route underneath. It's incomplete. Looking for Avery Lambert. The ball fell down at the 28-yard line. Threw it about 15 yards in the air. 2nd and 15 coming up.
It almost looked like DeVito wanted Lambert to just stop and sit in that pocket of the zone. As he continued his route, he was running into defenders. DeVito just wanted him to sit down there in that open area and make the completion.
East end of the stadium is wide open except for the giant scoreboard, and it's very bright sunshine that direction. Perhaps Lambert lost the ball in the sun a little. Empty backfield. They're bringing serious heat. DeVito all the way back at his own 44. Throws across his body. It's caught by Lambert. He's up to the 35-yard line. Boy, they used a lot of space to pick up 4 yards. It's 3rd down and 11 coming up, but at least Shelby got some positive play.
Demetrius Roden, who usually just plays center for this Glenville team, in there on the interior of the defensive line. It's a quarterback's worst nightmare when you get pressure straight up the gut. DeVito, though, quick enough and adept enough with his feet that he's able to get away from that and make the completion.
Jameer Johnson, Kalen Bailey, Jameer Perez, DeAndre Taylor, those 4 defensive linemen have caused some serious problems early. Ball's on the 36-yard line. It's 3rd and 11. Boy, I can't believe they let that go without a false start. DeVito is up in the pocket with white jerseys flying everywhere, threw a ball out to the right side that some would call a hospital pass. It's incomplete. Brady Bowman was lucky that he didn't end up flat on his back. He got smoked and dropped the ball, 4th and 11.
You can see why Jalen Edwards is starting for this Glenville team as a sophomore at cornerback and got to play a lot last year as a freshman because he has great anticipation skills when the ball is in the air.
A lot of lateral running early in this game for the Whippets. They have not given DeVito any time to sit and be comfortable, read the defense. Braden's also been leaving the pocket early quite a bit. Michael Shepard is in to punt. There are 2 return men standing inside the 10-yard line for Glenville. Shepard is just onto the plus side of the field. Rolls right, looks like he's going to throw it. Steps up and he falls over. The ball squirts out. It's a fumble picked up and then dropped by Glenville, and now it's whistled dead as Glenville falls on it. Michael Shepard, the punter, stepped up as though he was going to throw a pass on a fake punt, and his feet and brain and hands all failed him.
Shepard coming into this game was 6 of 8 passing on the year for 82 yards and a touchdown. He's a kid that's played quarterback his whole life, Brendan. Probably going to be the quarterback for this Shelby team next year, so they're comfortable doing that. His footing just gave out on him there around the 40-yard line.
Also a good part of the field to take a chance like that out of field goal range. Shelby took a shot, it didn't work, so a turnover on downs. From the 34-yard line, Glenville starts 1st and 10, and Michael Shepard goes to make up for the play immediately. They ran a draw play right up the middle, and Shepard absolutely hammered London Hearn.
Great job coming off of this near side by Shepard, dropping down and just sticking the running back. His other defensive end, or his linebacker Sam Wirtz coming in there to help get the running back down. Great play by Shepard off that defensive end.
5:48 counting first quarter. It is 2nd down and 8. No score here in the state championship game. Ball's on the 36-yard line, left hash as Glenville goes left to right. Nelson fakes the handoff. He's got red jerseys flying everywhere. Rolls to his left, darts out of bounds at the 38-yard line.
There you see Arvell Nelson showing his ability, like DeVito, to extend plays. Maybe not wanting to take off and run downfield. He eventually had to there, but the sidestep to hop around defenders and keep plays alive.
Clock stops at 5:31. It's 3rd down and 6 after a pickup of 2. He ran into enemy territory out of bounds on that far sideline. 3 receivers to the right, 1 wide to the left. Ball's on the left hash of the 38. Nelson claps once, looks right, pitches. It's a pitch play out wide to the right with a lot of space, up to the 40, tackle from behind, ball's out. Ball is on the turf. Shelby recovers as they go out of bounds. Do they get possession, or did the ball get out of bounds first? The referees at the 44-yard line are looking, and they're going to say it is 4th down. Shelby is saying they had the ball.
And out of bounds. It'll be 4th down for Glenville at the spot of the fumble.
4th down for Glenville at the spot of the fumble. You cannot fumble the ball forward out of bounds. The replay in the stadium certainly looks to me like London Hearn's knee hit first. Good call on the field. Started to bobble the ball, but I think it was the right call.
Yeah, and a good job there by the cornerback. I think it was DeVito that got off and shed his blocker, the receiver block, to go over there and trip him up and make the play. And I think we're going to get a review here.
You know what? We will. They just showed a second angle, and that's why you heard Shelby's fans erupt on the far sideline. That second angle certainly seemed to indicate that that was a fumble, and I believe Shelby thinks they have the football back. We'll find out. Let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves all across the OHSAA radio network. Brendan Gulick, Ryan Baker, Chris Solwecki, and Aaron Cassidy live from the Pro Football Hall of Fame. 5:10 to go in a scoreless first quarter of the Division IV state championship game. Glenville High School in Cleveland, Shelby High School just north of Mansfield. We have a replay review at the moment with 5:10 to go. Shelby thinks they may have the football back in great field position. It was ruled on the field to have been fumbled out of bounds by Glenville's running back, London Hearn.
So, Brendan, we have the luxury of the replay booth being right next to us, and they also put replays up on the screen here, which is a great thing. The ball was definitely fumbled. I just don't know if he had control of it before he went out of bounds.
Here's the call.
The ruling on the field stands. 4th down.
And it's going to stand because the Shelby defender dove on top of the football, and if he could have possessed the football, it would have been theirs. But he hit it, and it hit with his chest, and then it rolled down to his stomach. And by the time he was able to get his hands under the football, the shoulders and the helmet were already out of bounds.
Western Reserve Radio, Western Reserve Radio 2, and City View Sportscast.
Snap that punt quickly.
Youngstown,
Fair call
Ohio.
By Bowman at the 32-yard line. Shelby was barely on the field ready to go before Glenville actually punted that one way up into the sky. And now the Whippets will take over 1st and 10 from their own 32-yard line.
Bowman looked like a baseball outfielder, Brendan, coming up to field that punt, sliding as he did it. That is a difficult play, a dangerous play by Bowman, but he's good enough to make it.
Down to Chris.
Guys, you know, the OHSAA is
How many
constantly
took off?
saying
Did
how
you
much
with your
they need
minutes
more
total?
officials to
How did
be a
you
part of all the different sports
know it
around
was
here.
time
Well,
for you to
right
return?
behind me are
How
probably
did you make that
700 or
decision?
800 officials from Shelby
Good question.
who all
You know,
disagree with the play that was called
was
on the
able
field.
to get to a
Then put
point
on the
where
stripes.
I thought my mind was
Little
sharp
play
enough.
action in the backfield on
and
1st
the
and
Rangers
10.
were good enough
DeVito
to
way
let
out
me
rolling to his right,
do
throws
some
across his
practice
body
snaps.
into traffic, and it's
I went
incomplete.
over the course of 2
that was nearly
homestands. I
caught
went
by
out to the
2 different
ballpark
tarbletters near
maybe half a
midfield
dozen
before the
times
ball fluttered
and
to the
did
turf
practice broadcasts. I felt like a kid again.
Unfortunately,
making
friendly
believe I was
fire for
on the
Glenville
air
on that far
when I
side.
wasn't.
And there are
And it
2
wasn't until I
tarblers
had done
down
3 or 4 games that I
injured.
felt comfortable
Jordan
enough
Johnson is
to
certainly
tell
one
my
of
boss
them.
that,
Aaron
I thought I was about
Scales
ready
is
to
the
return,
other.
and we set the
Sincere
target
Johnson,
date.
the captain of that defense, is standing over his teammates as the athletic training staff makes their way
I did not
all the way
record
across
him.
the field to go attend to those 2 injured guys.
DeVito trying to make
I didn't
another
wanna hear them
play
then, and
on
I
the
don't wanna hear
run. The
them
pass is just a little off there as he had 2 receivers in the vicinity. One of them was Carter Kessler, their other tight end. Michael Shepard, though, the starting tight end, he did a great job on that play. He got Keon Bailey, Kalen Bailey, just enough on the block to give DeVito the time to even have a chance to make that play.
Good news
All
is
right,
both
we'll
guys
start
get
off
back
with
on their
Mitch.
feet. Jordan Johnson is trying
Yeah,
to
good
cross the
afternoon,
field. Scales
gentlemen,
walking.
and Eric.
A little gingerly, but he
Your,
appears to be
your
okay.
story
in the
is a
grand
great
scheme of
one,
things.
I must
It'll be
say.
2nd down and 10 for Shelby.
And I've been a baseball
From
fan and a
32-yard
Dodger
line in a
fan
moment.
for,
No score,
well,
4:50
since they
left
moved out to
in
LA
what
in
has been a
58. But
defensive first quarter.
I have
17
noticed
total
at
plays,
the end,
25
late in
yards of total
some
offense
broadcasters'
combined.
careers
Necessarily see that coming.
that clearly
Both of these
they
defenses
aren't as
just
sharp
so
as
good. You really
many years
they cover
before, and
every
that
inch of
goes
the field. There's no
for a
open
guy
real
who's still
estate.
working, and I love him,
Please hold that
Charlie
play for a moment
Steiner.
as both
Charlie,
teams approach the line of scrimmage.
and there have been rumors that Charlie is thinking of
Offensively,
retiring.
DeVito is
But
working
I've
from the
noticed a difference in him, and
Johnson stayed on the
and I'm
field.
73, so I got a
Dawn
year
on him
on
that
you.
because
But
he was the
you
injured
know,
player,
the
he has to leave the
cognition
field for
does
one
tend to
play, so
slip
they
a
make
little bit as you
substitution.
get a little
Jaquan
older.
Gibson off the sideline.
I wanted to
receiver
talk
either
about
direction,
you
ball closer to
briefly
the left hash
mentioned
than the right, just left of
what
center.
really has
They've got
helped
2
the
running
Texas
backs, including
Rangers
up back.
is
Brady Bowman from
you
the left
taking
side,
Corey
motions
Seager
behind the
away from
quarterback.
us.
DeVito calls his own number,
He didn't
runs away
mention
from
that
one,
yet.
can't get through a second defender as he's tripped
Corey
up, but a
was,
good
you know, he
productive
was
carry on
tremendous with us.
2nd down and
I'm
10.
sorry he
and I believe
left.
he got all the way to the
But
sticks,
with all
but not enough to move
with
them.
all due respect to my
Just
dear,
good old-fashioned
dear close
quarterback
friend,
power
Michael
right
Garrett,
there, going between
I
behind
rooted
your
for
right guard,
Texas
Gavin
because,
Garrett,
A,
and your
you
right
knocked
tackle,
off the
Colton
Astros,
Sexton, 6'2",
and
280,
anybody
6'1",
who knocks off the
250.
Astros
First down
is
signal.
a team
the
I'll
chains
support.
weren't set. They wanted to snap
And
the
two,
ball.
you knocked
and
off
then
the Arizona
a false
Diamondbacks,
start
who
by the
didn't
left
treat us
tackle.
very
So
well in the
the
playoffs.
operation a little funky right
So
now.
I was kind of rooting for Texas.
Wow, they're going to say
Not-
instead it's encroachment from the right defensive end, Bailey, instead of the left tackle, Quentin Albert. Okay.
Brendan, Brendan. We saw that a couple times last night where they didn't quite have the stick set, but they were wanting to snap the ball, and a couple times they let them. It seems like they need to get in there and say, hold on, let these sticks get set, maybe calm everyone down there.
So it's 1st and 5, just a couple strides short of midfield. Shelby scoreless with Glenville, starting to get late first quarter, moving right to left. Here's DeVito, takes the snap up into the pocket, and he's hit as he goes right into his center for basically no gain on the play. Pressure off the far side from the Glenville Tar-Blooder defense, delivered by Elijah Harden.
It's so difficult, Brendan, when you have that pressure from the outside, but you're also getting the push up front from the middle of the line, and DeVito has nowhere to go there. There's no escape plan for him. One other thing, Kalen Bailey, he needs to be careful on his lining up because he looked awful close to lining up off sides on that last play. He's there again.
DeVito, 4 receivers, 3 to the left. He looks that way with a shoulder fake, and he gets planted. Absolutely blasted by Kalen Bailey. Bailey with a sack all the way back to the 40-yard line, a 7-yard loss. 3rd down and 12.
There had to be some miscommunication on the outside of that line there. Shepard goes in motion kind of as soon as the snap takes off, and Quentin Albert blocks down. That left no one on Bailey, and he has a clear path to the quarterback.
This is no good. DeVito walked off the field under his own power, but he clearly isn't quite right, and he's got to come off the field here. Michael Shepard, who you mentioned earlier, current tight end, current defensive end, is now quarterback number 2. So the best player on Shelby's roster by a long shot is on the field, or I should say on the sideline with an injury. Shepard back, throws right side, 6 yards in front of his receiver. It's intercepted at the 32. Glenville's got it with a flag down deep at the 32-yard line where they stepped out of bounds. Who picked that off? Was it Cordell Scott?
I think it was Jaquan Gibson who's in there because Johnson and Scales were out of the ballgame, although it looks like they were both back in there this time. I'll tell you what, Shepard, no problem with the arm strength. He can fling it, just flung it a little too far.
Looks like DeVito's left hand got taped up on that far sideline, so hopefully for Shelby fans, it won't be long before he could return. Referees are continuing a powwow, and it is a defensive holding foul, which should negate the interception. What a break for the Whippets. Here's the call.
Holding, defense, number 2. 10-yard penalty for the previous spot. That yardage will result in a first down.
So a 10-yard penalty and an automatic Shelby first down.
And
okay. How about 3rd and 2?
It was one of the things we talked about, Brendan. If you're Glenville, you have to stay disciplined. I know it's tough when you've got a quarterback running around making plays, but that wasn't the case there. You can't have that holding.
DeVito returns to the game. Shepard is back at his normal tight end spot. The tailback in the backfield is Travis Sloan on the right hip. DeVito calls his own number. Tough kid, straight ahead, barrels forward. Needed 2, picked up 3. First down, Shelby. Just a couple yards onto the Glenville side of the field.
You love the toughness there. You know you need 2 yards. Put your foot in the ground, plow forward, and try to get 3. Air Force is getting a good one for that wing T, wishbone type offense that they run.
Fans are still filing in to Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium on a brutally cold morning under clear skies here in Canton. What a first quarter. This has been a slugfest. No score, 2:42 to go. Shelby's got it 1st and 10 from the Glenville 46-yard line right hash. Moving right to left, DeVito takes the snap and hands it to Sloan, who is swallowed in the backfield for a loss. 3 different Tar-Blooders got to him. First one there was DeAndre Taylor, the defensive tackle.
DeAndre Taylor showing the quickness there, why Kent State wants him to be a golden flash next year. I believe that's the first carry for Sloan in this game, the first time that DeVito hasn't run it or they haven't thrown it. Regardless, though, a great job by Taylor of breaking that up.
Sloan's first carry, DeVito 6 carries for 2 net yards. Shepard's got 1 carry. DeVito's 2 for 8 for 13 yards. Both teams are really struggling to move the football. Final 2 minutes of the first quarter as they motion a guy wider to the left. That was Bowman. DeVito bails on the pocket, rolls left with 3 Tar-Blooders, throws deep, wobbly down the sideline, out of bounds by several yards, incomplete. The The ball sailed a good 40 yards through the air. DeVito showing off his arm strength, but he's bailing on the pocket so quickly and putting himself in tough spots.
Well, he's bailing on the pocket because he's getting pressure right up the middle. DeAndre Taylor just was around Emmett Bates before I think he could even get his head up from snapping the football. He looked up to block somebody, and Taylor was already past him. They're going to have to do something to help the interior of their offensive line.
Ted Ginn Sr., nearly 50 years, the legendary Hall of Fame head coach at Glenville, and he's got another really good defensive front. 3rd and 11 with $1:47 to go in a scoreless first quarter. Lambert, the motion man, tightens up. This one's tossed down the sideline, left side. It's off Bowman's hand, incomplete. Falls harmlessly to the 15. Great tight coverage out there from Jalen Edwards as DeVito took a deep shot that didn't work.
And you can tell the pressure is getting to Vito as he had time there, but he still threw that off of his back foot. He's not comfortable in that pocket right now to set his back foot and just fire the football.
This game is going to be about mental toughness. It's cold, it's early, and neither offense has any sort of rhythm. Shepard in to punt the football from his own 41-yard line. 2 returners back deep inside the 15 for Glenville. Shepard had that fake punt last time. This time puts it down on the field. 19-yard line and bouncing, scooped up at the 8. Angling to his right across the 15. Out toward the numbers 20, 25, 30. There he goes up the right sideline. One man to beat. Glenville's got a big play coming. Jaquan Gibson. Can he keep it going with guys chasing him? Middle of the field. Dives for the end zone. He's in. A punt return for touchdown. 92 yards. Running out of gas at the end and gets into the end zone.
It looked like Shepard was trying to kick that ball away and out of bounds. It was heading toward the sideline, and it bounced back in towards the middle of the field so Gibson could get it on the hop at the 8, and then he just made a couple guys miss and outran everybody. You had 2 Shelby players around the 25 run into each other and run into a Glenville blocker. It was a huge collision. All 3 of them were down on the field for a while, and then Gibson just outruns everyone to the end zone.
Enier Lemon is on for the extra point as the referees blow the play dead before the snap would come. They'll reset the play clock. That punt was fielded far side of the field. If you're looking at the field, think top left on the 8-yard line. And that young man ran all the way across the field to the near side at the 30, ran about 40 yards straight ahead, and then cut it back again up the middle. Extra point, end over end, up and good from Lemon. I mean, he ran probably 115 yards, and at the end of that sprint, man, he was losing some serious steam, but he got in.
And he went into the end zone, just dove between the O and the F of and Pro Football Hall of Fame right in the middle.
So where 2 offenses have been completely inept, a special teams touchdown for the Tarblooders, and they're on the board first in this state championship game.
And we talked about a close game like this, how special teams could come into play. You would think that favors Shelby, but not with the return ability of Gibson.
Before the kickoff, real quick, let's go down to Chris.
That collision on the Glenville sideline, it was an incredible sample. Number 22, Bryce, and number 1, Jordan Johnson, just had a hellacious collision. In fact, they were both still on the turf by the time the touchdown was scored. It took them a moment or 2 to get their wherewithal after that collision.
A 92-yard punt return for touchdown by sophomore Jaquan Gibson. 7-0 Glenville with 1:19 left in the first quarter as the Tarblooders look for their 3rd state title in 4 years. Good long kick by Lemon. It's fielded at the 9-yard line, running up the seam to the right side. 25-30, bouncing to the outside to the 35-40 and out of bounds. Caden Paz, the great receiver and kick returner, with a big explosive return to ignite the juices a bit for that Shelby offense.
Hard hit over on the far sideline. A great job by the referees to get in there and just make sure nothing happened over there between the Glenville players on that far sideline and the Shelby sideline. Caden Paz, you can see why he's back there returning kicks, and you can see why they try to get him involved in the offense a little bit. A lot of quickness out of that junior.
How does Braden DeVito respond as all three receivers split out wide to the left with the ball on the right hash? 1st and 10 from their own 42. DeVito looking for that magic he is so accustomed to that's eluded him today. This time he hands to Gavin Baker. Talk about going nowhere fast. He was 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage before being driven backwards by Ohio State commit Jameer Perez.
There is just nothing in the middle of the line of scrimmage right now for this Shelby offense. Their offensive coordinator, Gabe Helber, needs to think of something somehow to either help the interior of the offensive line or get these guys out in the perimeter in space to do a little damage. I know that's easier said than done because there's not a lot of space with the speed of Glenville.
Shelby's got to pick it up fast here. They're just breaking the huddle with 5 on the play clock, 27 and counting first quarter. 2nd down and 12. DeVito, QB power to the right. He cuts through one defender and picked up 2 yards, tackled from behind up to the original line of scrimmage at the 42-yard line. Glenville's speed and power and physicality is causing serious problems for this incredibly talented offense.
Jordan Johnson looked like a heat-seeking missile flying in from his safety spot to help trip up DeVito.
We have reached the end of the first quarter. We've only got 31 yards of total offense, but a 92-yard punt return for touchdown for Glenville has them on the board and have the lead in the Division IV state championship game. Let's pause for these messages from your local station. You are listening to the OHSAA Radio Network.
You can stream the game on your phone while you're gardening. You can stream it while you walk the dog. You can stream it at a trampoline park. You can even stream it at a monster truck rally. But the second you get behind the wheel, the game's over. Remember, Ohio, phones down. It's the law.
How do you define strength? Is it physical? Or is it mental? Maybe it's both. Maybe it's whatever empowers a person to dig deeper, fight harder, and overcome obstacles that once seemed insurmountable. Discover how much stronger and more confident your children can be. Encourage them to participate in a sport when they go to high school.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah.
You remember that ball game we went to a couple years ago?
Sure.
And how you didn't have enough cash for 2 hot dogs, so you walked with me on your shoulders until we found an ATM? And then when we got back to our seats, we never saw the hot dog guy again.
Well, I don't remember all that.
Yeah, that was an awesome game.
You never know which moments will be the ones they'll remember forever, so take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 1-877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Eddie George. Football has played a big part in my life, but football is about much more than big plays, wins, and losses and championships. Football teaches young people about dedication, sacrifice, teamwork, and overcoming adversity. Not every team can be a state champion, but every team and every player can give a state championship effort. So let's respect the game and get out and support your local school. You'll be amazed of all the good things you'll see happening at Ohio schools.
The first quarter of our state championship game between Glenville and Shelby dominated by fabulous defense, much of it by the Tarblooders. How about Kalen Bailey, their junior defensive end, 3 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 TFLs, 3 quarterback hurries in 12 minutes? Yowza! Cartez Yancey has been terrific with 3 stops. And the great Sincere Johnson, future Ohio State Buckeye, who is bound to eventually draw comparisons to Arvell Reese. He's had a good start as well with a couple of tackles. Shelby has the football. It's 3rd and 10. Now they're going left to right from the right hash of their own 42. Shelby's offense has done literally nothing. 20 plays for 16 total yards. What are they going to do differently? 3 receivers to the left. DeVito looking up. He takes another deep shot. Got a man open at the 35. He makes the catch. Popped in the backfield. There is a flag down on a violent collision, but he held on to the football. Brady Bowman with a magnificent play. have to think they're going to look at targeting the way that tackle came in. My gosh.
In a huge collision at the end of that play as Bowman's still down, just as big a collision in the backfield. You can see DeVito, he's walking gingerly over towards Bowman. Chris Newell came from the safety spot on a delayed blitz and absolutely hammered DeVito. And then the same thing happens on the other end of the play.
Well, Glenville has long been known for its physicality, and let me tell you, on a morning as cold as this where you can't have enough layers on to try to insulate yourself, it's the kind of day that helmets crack and paint chips off your helmet or your chin strap. Glad to see Bowman back on his feet, but he got absolutely stung at the 33-yard line. Let's check in here down the sideline with Chris. Well, maybe not. We'll grab him another time. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, sorry, guys. I couldn't hear you for just a second. You talk about the physicality and the violence of this game. Number 51, the Whippets have jerseys where their numbers are stitched on. A lot of times they're screened on these days. These are stitched on. Number 51 for the Whippets, Kyler Williams, his number 5 is starting to be peeled off. It's starting to separate itself from the jersey. These guys have been playing physically. There have been big hits. And now we've got the official call about the targeting penalty, and that's going to move the Whippets even closer to this thing up.
They have, I don't believe they called targeting, just a personal foul, and so that's great news for Glenville. No ejections for targeting fouls, but it puts Shelby in the red zone for the first time. Those 15 yards are so valuable the way that this game has gone so far. Easily their best play from scrimmage on a completion that totaled 25 yards plus 15 more penalty yards. So a 40-yard play in total. DeVito from the gun rolls to his right. He hands the football off. Misdirection. Gave it to Luke Blevins, who angles to his left. Dives for the pylon. He is in. Oh, what a creative play. Everybody went right. Blevins with the ball hiding in his gut. Back to the left to score and bring them within 1.
We talked about they were going to have to do something to fool this Glenville defense. They did it right there. Everybody thought Braden DeVito was going to follow the right side of that offensive line again. Luke Blevins looked like he was blocking the backside as DeVito ran by. He just gives him the football, and he goes almost untouched into the end zone. Gets hit at the 1-yard line as he's diving in.
They are going to take a quick look at that in the replay booth. They show a replay in the stadium. I don't see any reason to think they would overturn the call, but they will review it on Blevins' 6th rushing touchdown of the season.
The only reason they might overturn this, Brendan, is because as he was diving, he was hit, and it was his shoulder, the back of his shoulder that hit the pylon. So they may say that the football was out of bounds and did not get inside of that pylon. Regardless, they're going to have the ball on the 1-inch line.
If that's the case, then Shelby's going to have to see if they can get tough. 11:43 to go in the second quarter, 7-6. Glenville out front of the Shelby Whippets. That's what it says at the moment as they take a look. And here's the decision.
It's changed. It'll be first down at the half-yard line.
Eagle eyes up here. Ryan Baker all over it. The shoulder crossed the plane, but the ball did not at that front left pylon. Blevins' touchdown is wiped out, and the ball is halfway between the goal line and the 1-yard line now. First and goal coming up for Shelby.
And it's literally as simple, Brendan. If he dives with his left shoulder down, it's a touchdown. He dives with his right shoulder down, he's out of bounds.
Did it to protect the ball more than anything else. Trips bunch to the left. Everybody tight to the formation. One guy late coming onto the field. That is Landon Foltz, and now Shelby calls a timeout because they recognize how valuable this situation is. First timeout called by Shelby. Glenville had already burned one as well.
Brendan, I want to go back to that personal foul call. We talked about we've got the replay booth right here. I was looking at that, and he hit him right in the middle of his chest. Now, he might have launched a little bit, and maybe that's why they called a personal foul. He didn't have a chance to go to receive the football and land, but the hit was clean. It was right in the chest.
Let's pause for these messages from the Ohio High School Athletic Association. You're listening to the OHSAA Radio Network, fueled by chocolate milk.
Yes! Big money bet right there.
Dad, what's a big money bet? Can I do it?
Well, sweetie, betting is risky, so it's only for adults.
But I want to win money too.
I won this time, but I don't always win. That's why it's called gambling. And it's not for kids, okay?
Okay.
Let's just watch the game.
Youth who gamble are 4 times more likely to experience a gambling disorder as an adult. Be aware, check for risks, guide their choices, help prevent youth gambling. Visit ChangeTheGameOhio.org.
Max Preps is your source for high school sports. From schedules to stats, live scores, rosters, video, and photos, Max Preps has it all. And when you download the Max Preps app, you can add your favorite teams and get notified on the go. Have your own personalized scoreboards and stay updated on the latest news surrounding your high school team. As a proud partner of the Ohio High School Athletic Association, Max Preps wishes every student, athlete, and coach out there a very successful season.
Want to know what I like best about high school sports? I love watching my son run on the field. I love the fact that since he's been playing high school sports, he's making better decisions. And I love knowing that with the proper equipment, education, conditioning, and coaching, high school sports here in Ohio are safer than ever before. And that's something I really love.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Get state tournament photos, programs, apparel, DVDs, and more in the OHSAA Fan Guide. Find it at OHSAA.org. Well, some fireworks here at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium of late. A touchdown scored by Shelby, wiped off the board by replay. And so it's 1st and goal for the Whippets, who called timeout to make sure they had exactly what they wanted on the field. It's 1st and goal inside the 1. 7-0 Glenville, just 17 seconds into the start of the second quarter. But when Shelby has tried to run the ball between the tackles today, it has failed miserably time and time again. Can they go differently this time? With DeVito, the quarterback, in the gun. Trips bunch to the left. Now Shepard goes under center. Michael Shepard, the tight end, is playing quarterback. He already threw a pass earlier when DeVito got hurt. He's waiting, he leans, he pushes the pile. He is in! Michael Shepard from 1 yard out gives a different look to the Tarblooders, who cannot adjust, and Shelby scores.
And that's not easy to do against this Glenville defensive line in the middle, with Jameer Perez, DeAndre Taylor, Demetrius Rode, and all those guys in there. That is maybe the toughest half yard Michael Shepard has ever gotten. Brendan, we had 10 minutes and 40 seconds of nothing. And then all of a sudden, in the last minute and a half, 2 minutes, this game has gotten crazy.
If you joined us late, Glenville's score came on a 92-yard punt return for touchdown. Now they run the muddle huddle here on all the extra points just to make sure the defense is paying attention, and so now everybody more traditionally lines up for an extra point. The holder for Shelby is the tight end and linebacker Sam Gwertz. They'll line up for the extra point, Everett Harris, to kick it away. Good pressure. The ball goes up through the inside of the left uprights, and good. 7-7 ball game here where the legends call home at Pro Football Hall of Fame. 11:39 to go in the first half.
A much-needed answer from Shelby, a little aided by the personal foul call on Jordan Johnson from Glenville, but a much-needed answer after that big punt return.
How will Shelby buckle down on special teams here? We were told earlier this week that it was unlikely that they would kick it deep, because you see just how good this Glenville return game can be. Harris puts the ball on the tee at the 40. They've got 6 guys across midfield, does Glenville, 3 at the 40-yard line. Their return men are not deep whatsoever. 2 at the 21 between the hashes at the 12. What direction does Everett Harris want to send this? He runs to it, kicks it toward the left-hand side of the field and out of bounds, intentionally kicking it out of bounds to avoid Glenville getting open space to work with. Flag is down for the illegal procedure, and they are content with letting Glenville take it 1st and 10.
Is that a kicker's form of intentional grounding right there?
It is, I mean, with a chef's kiss.
That just looked like a quarterback getting out of the pocket and throwing it into the stands. We talked about it, though, on that punt return. It looked like Shepard was trying to kick that ball out of bounds. It just hit and bounced back towards the middle of the field.
18-year-old men and a ball that isn't round. You just never know what you're going to get. That's what Chuck Kyle, the legendary head coach for a long time at St. Ignatius, used to say. He won 11 big school state titles, more than any other Division I program in history. I've always found that to be wise words. All right, Glenville runs out of the pistol. They hand the football off, surging straight ahead across midfield down to the 48-yard line. This stable of running backs continues to rotate for the Tarblooders. Latest guy to touch it is Rommel Phillips.
Nice to see Brady Bowman back in the ballgame here on defense. He went for a little bit of a ride there on Phillips, but a good job to hang on and get him down eventually, or Phillips might have went for more.
Sadler wide left, Saffold wide right. Ball is on the 48-yard line, 2nd and 2 coming up. Nelson turns and hands to Phillips again, who hesitates, puts 2 hands on the ball, and drives it forward toward the 45-yard line. Picks up 3. That's enough for a first down.
Phillips, the smallest of their running backs at 5'9", 163, but they're not afraid to throw him in there and give a little power to get the first down. This is the best field position Glenville has been in all game. So far, Shelby has dominated that part of this game in the field position battle.
Hands on hips for that Glenville offensive line. Right now, Shelby's defense doesn't look particularly fatigued. Clock is rolling, 10:47 left in the first half. Tied at 7 in the state championship game. Glenville High School from Cleveland, Shelby High School north of Mansfield. Quick out route to the left-hand side, caught by Paulie Sadler, his first catch of the game, and he ducks out of bounds at the 37. That's a good productive play on 2nd down and sets up a manageable 3rd down and 2.
It's interesting you just talked about the Glenville offensive line.
Beg your pardon, 2nd down and 2, my mistake.
Interesting because for the most part, Shelby doesn't go both ways on the lines, but we've seen some of the Glenville guys doing that so far with Perez and Roden. That might be something we want to watch here moving forward.
Again, Sadler to the left, Saffold way out wide to the right. They run the same play out of the pistol. They give it to Phillips. He stiff arms a defender at the 30. Cuts out to the right. Jitterbugs down the sideline. He is hit at the 6 and knocked out of bounds. Bowman with a touchdown saving tackle that kept Glenville off the board on another explosive. Glenville hasn't done it in little chunks all day until they hit a couple of these big plays. One on a punt return and now one on a big long run up the right side.
Just such great vision and the ability to cut quickly laterally but still moving forward at the same time. What a run by Phillips. And we were talking about the offensive line. Roden is not in there right now. Whipple has moved from the left tackle spot over to the center spot, and they have number 51 in there at left tackle, Tyler Murphy.
DeAndre Taylor, the defensive tackle, a lead blocker for Newell. Buckle your chin strap time. Flag is down as Newell scampers straight ahead into the end zone for a touchdown for the time being.
So normally, and I think they are calling a hold. As I say, normally that was a hold. I thought maybe they might have called a face mask on Newell as he tried to pull away from that tackle, but it is going to be holding on Glenville.
51. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, first down.
The foul is on Tyler Murphy. To give you an idea, Glenville and Ted Ginn, they just want to run the ball straight downhill. They do it repeatedly. 10 carries for 63 yards in the game. Phillips, of course, had the 31-yarder just a couple of plays ago. Nelson's only thrown one pass the entire afternoon, and that came just a moment back to Sadler. A total offensive package for Glenville so far of 10 plays for 65 yards, of which 31 came on one snap. 10:21 to go in the first half, 7-7 game. Nelson on 1st and goal from his 16, wants to throw over the middle, low and incomplete at the 2. Bowman on coverage, trying to connect with Elijah Harden.
He had the receiver there. I believe it was Saffold cutting across the middle of the field. He had him open. He had a step on the defender. The coverage was tight, but that could have been completed. Just threw it a little low, did Nelson.
Nelson at least had time to set his feet in the backfield and chuck it over the middle of the field. 2nd down and goal from the 16. Shelby gave up a score, but it was negated by penalty. Glenville has had some disastrous penalties that have wiped away big plays. Nelson again, quick throw to the left. It's short and incomplete. Diving at the 10-yard line. Again, that time throwing toward Elijah Hardin, who was in the slot on the left. 3rd and goal from the 16.
Looked like Nelson, at least on that one especially, just rushed it a little bit when he needed to. And when he's hurrying with that motion, it's causing him to throw low.
Glenville trying to break a late first half tie in the state championship game. Nelson, of course, playing quarterback with his dad coaching him, Arvell Sr., formerly a quarterback for the Tarblooders. And we got a timeout on the field called by Glenville. Shelby's fans come roaring to life on their feet on the far side to back the Whippet defense. 10-13 to go in the first half, 7-7 game in the state championship.
You kind of want to say, man, this could be a big momentum play here. You understand the timeout. You do understand the timeout. You don't want Glenville to score here and go up in the ball game. But I have a feeling, Brendan, the next 10 minutes of this half and then the 24 minutes that follow, I think we're going to have a lot of moments in this game where we're like, oh, this could be a big turning point.
Sure feels like it, doesn't it? Fans, you have several social media options to connect with the OHSAA. You can follow us on Facebook, X, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. You'll find tournament updates, event announcements, videos, news from around the state, and so much more. On the OHSAA social media platforms, we've got you covered every day. Brendan Gulick, Ryan Baker, Chris Solwecki, and Aaron Cassidy with you high atop Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. 3rd and goal for Glenville High School. They're moving right to left here in the first half. They've got it off to the left-hand side on the right hash mark of the 16. 3 receivers to the left, 4 down linemen defensively. Nelson is under duress. Throws it to the left. He is open. It is tipped and incomplete. Oh my goodness. Paulie Sedler was wide open until the very last minute. Braden DeVito got his left hand on it and knocked it away.
DeVito has 4 interceptions on the year. That was almost number 5. And again, Nelson, he didn't throw it low this time, but he underthrew his receiver. When you've got that receiver going to the corner of the end zone and the defender way off, you've got to throw it long. If you're going to err, you've got to err on that one being out of bounds long rather than short.
Special teams, in particular kicking field goals, has not been Glenville's strength. Enier Lemon is going to attempt a 34-yard try. They get the snap down quickly, barely any rush, end over end kick. It's got enough leg. It is good. Great kick by Lemon. He made it by at least 10 yards. An impressive kick as the Glenville sideline erupts. 10-7 Tarblooders.
Brendan, you're right. That one probably would have been good from 45. A heck of a kick from Lemon right down the middle. We thought if somebody would have a special teams edge in this game, it would be Shelby. But so far, the special teams has been in the favor of Glenville.
Quickly down to Chris Solwecki.
Guys, there are never any moral victories, but I got to be honest, after almost giving up a touchdown, only giving up 3 is exactly what Shelby needed. And their sideline is undaunted by those 3 points. They're ready to come out, run the offense, and see if they can't continue what they started in that last drive.
Glenville's committed 4 penalties for 40 yards, and they have been critical yards against them.
When you're averaging 45.5 points a game, I can understand why 3 points don't seem that much daunting on your sidelines if you're Shelby. But you have not been scoring 45 points on a Glenville defense all year.
Shelby's run 23 plays for 59 yards today. Low spinning kick, bounces at the 15, takes a funny hop, bobbled and then scooped up at the 3. Shelby's got some work to do. It's pause. Across the 10-yard line to the 12, and he's met by a whole bunch of Tarblooders where he's blasted down to the turf. Not great field position for the Whippet offense as they come back on the field.
Earlier, you quoted Coach Kyle, legendary coach at St. Ignatius, with 17, 18-year-old kids and the way the ball bounces. Well, that ball took a funny bounce. Paz might have been better to just let it go and let it roll into the end zone. Again, you don't know if it was going to, but that was a tough job by him reaching out. It could have been disastrous for Shelby with him getting a hand on that football like that.
1st and 10 for the Whippets. Sloan the right sidecar for DeVito. He sends Bowman in motion out on the right, throws a quick screen to him, and Brady bobbles and drops it at the 15. That is unusual, poor execution between DeVito and Bowman. Those two have been in such rhythm all year, but can't seem to get it going right now. 2nd and 10.
It wasn't the best pass from DeVito, a little behind Bowman, but you still have got to make that catch if you're Brady. Everything just seems sped up for the Shelby offense right now, for the quarterback, for the receivers. It seems like their mind is going just a little quicker than their bodies.
DeVito is 3 for 10 throwing the football. This is a kid who's thrown for 12,800 yards in his career. He has accounted for 205 touchdowns, one of the all-time greats offensively ever in Ohio high school history. And on 2nd and 10, he wiggles his way offside left tackle and picks up about 2 yards to the 15. We'll call it 3rd down and 8. This Glenville defensive line is eating the Whippets alive.
And all those stats you mentioned about DeVito, maybe the 73% completion percentage on the year. So, yeah, all those other numbers, but he's usually very accurate too.
Wind is starting to pick up, wiggling the flag off to the west end zone. DeVito with 4 receivers, 2 either way. Ball left hash, 3rd and 8 on the 12. Over the middle, into traffic, throws high and incomplete. Caden Paz got cracked from behind, but the pass really wasn't catchable. Once again, the Glenville secondary does its job. DeVito at least had a little more time to throw it, but the offense goes 3 and out.
And again, Paz there, he was open. When he made his cut, he had a step on the defender. Just the ball was thrown behind him. Again, it was also triple coverage. I mean, it would have taken a perfect throw to complete that pass to Paz.
So 3 and out for the Whippet offense, whose drive summary so far in this game has not been pretty. Shepard, the punter, puts it oddly down to the 42-yard line. It wasn't a spiral, it wasn't a duck. I don't really know how to describe it. It was kind of ugly, maybe knuckling a little bit, and it angled out of bounds at the 43-yard line with 9 minutes to go in the half.
I think what that punt was, you could either call it a frisbee or a sideways end over end, because
Sure.
That's what it was doing.
Looked like a wounded duck.
I've never seen anything like that.
Shelby's got 5 possessions offensively. 6 plays, 4 yards. 4 play, 1 yard. 8 plays, 21 yards that ended in a punt. 5 plays, 58 yards that ended in the touchdown. But, of course, in addition to the big passing play on that drive, aided by 15 yards in penalties, and then they just went 3 and out. They've had decent field position. Can't really get it going, though. Glenville about to take the football for the 4th time. Their only score came on a punt return for a touchdown. Their first 3 possessions, punt, field goal. 10-7 Tarblooders. They start the drive by handing the football off. It's a draw play straight ahead to the 40-yard line. A gain of 4 to set up 2nd down and 6.
One of the keys Coach Rob Mahaney said on defense for the Whippets today was they had to tackle well, and they've got to get them down any way possible. Michael Shepard, just the epitome of that on that play, getting the running back down.
Glenville tailback right now is Ramel Phillips as they continue to rotate guys. He stands in the pistol with lead blockers on either side of Nelson out of the gun. How about the play by Sam Gwirtz? The linebacker comes flying off the right side. They ran exactly the same offensive play. Sam comes in and makes a nice tackle. It's a short gain, modest, maybe 2 yards. We're going to call it 3rd down and 4.
Nice penetration into the backfield by Wirtz there. Travis Sloan was in there on the stop too. A good job by number 21. How about this? If you're Phillips right now, you've got McDougal at 215 and you've got Taylor at 245 leading the way for you either side.
Glenville needs the 34 to move the chains. They fake the handoff. Nelson pulls it out, runs out of trouble, then back into it near the marker, and I believe it's enough. Arvell Nelson didn't make it easy on himself. Took a couple steps to his right, back to his left as he moved forward, and ultimately it was enough by about half the length of the football. 1st down, Tarblooders.
That time it was Uriah Weber in the backfield kind of leading the way for the Tarblooders, and that was a violent block from number 24.
10-7 Glenville, 7:25 left in the first half. Arvell Nelson, who's only thrown 4 passes today, just 1 completion, turns and hands again to Phillips, who is tackled from behind. Carter Kessler comes flying off the end to make the stop.
You could see right there why the 6'3", 235-pound senior signed with West Virginia on national signing the other day. Super quick off of that end, and a great job to get the ankles and bring the running back down.
Kessler had previously played at Napoleon High School before moving to Shelby after his freshman season, and they have loved having him on the defensive line. It's a loss of 1, 2nd and 11 as Phillips takes another handoff, hesitates, explodes forward, bursts ahead to the 22-yard line, and he is gang tackled. It is enough for a Glenville first down after he found a seam up the right side.
What I like so much about Ramel Phillips is I don't even know if it's necessarily a jump cut that he does, but he's able to move left or right while still going north, and that is very hard for a running back to do. He does it so well.
Keeps his feet moving, great agility. Stands once again in the backfield, gets the ball from Nelson. No, Nelson pulls it last second. He splits two defenders at the 15 toward the side, or I beg your pardon, toward the left hash mark, and tackled down at the 14-yard line. Nelson was busy dancing after the play. It is 2nd down and 3.
Arvell Nelson at 6'3", 170, a long strider. He reminded me so much of former Buckeye Robert Smith running there. When somebody'd grab him and you see that leg go up in the air and just those long strides, so smooth running down the field.
Former Mr. Football from Euclid High School as Nelson turns and hands the ball off to Newell, who's got some room across the 5, dragging Bowman ahead. Touchdown, Glenville! C.J. Newell finally gets the offense on the board, and the Tarblooders extend their lead.
He had one called back on the last drive. He says not this time. A powerful run from Newell, but none of it happens without the block in the backfield by Devon McDougal. McDougal took Sam Wirtz out of the play, and that allowed Newell to go to pay dirt.
14 yards for one of the premier backs on Glenville's roster. Newell banged up last week, didn't get a chance to play in the entire semifinal. Glenville needed him in a big way. Extra point unit is on, a little slow developing. Lemon's kick just barely snuck past the guy that was trying to block it, but he missed it wide left, pulled it, no good. And it keeps it at 16-7 with 5:36 to play before halftime. Let's pause for these messages from the Ohio High School Athletic Association. You're listening to the OHSAA Radio Network, fueled by chocolate milk.
You practice hard, you play hard, you're always reaching for your goals. You reach for the next point, the next yard, the next win. And after the game, reach for low-fat chocolate milk. It has the fluids to rehydrate you, the right mix of protein and carbs to refuel you, and the vitamins and minerals to help you build strong bones and bodies. Fuel up with chocolate milk. For more information, visit drink-milk.com.
How do you respect the game? Find out how at ohsaa.org/RTG.
Glenville 16, Shelby 7 in the Division IV state championship game as Lemon's kick squibs up to the 28-yard line. Here comes Shelby Upman, who got blasted. Oh my goodness. Mason Cook fielded the football and got terminated at the 35-yard line. The Tarblooders didn't need much more juice after scoring last time, but that was a violent collision.
Brendan, my insides hurt after that hit. I couldn't imagine what Cook feels like right now. I'll tell you what, if you wanted to have a video on how to tackle and show young kids, that hit that Carter Yancey just made is the one you would show them.
That was the football equivalent of the Tom Amansky baseball videos from back in the day. Picture perfect. 1st and 10 for the Whippets. They fake an end around. DeVito finally has some time to throw. Surveys the defense out of the pocket to the right, still looking. Throws deep down the field. This is trouble, and it's incomplete with a flag out. Boy, that looks like offensive pass interference as Avery Lambert, the receiver, tried to turn into defender and shove Jalen Edwards in the back at the 25.
And it beats the alternative because that ball was going to be picked. By the way, Brendan, I was always more of a baseball bunch guy than Tom Amansky, but
that explains a lot.
I think it was the Kool-Aid man that got me.
Here comes the call. Everybody on the field reacting on OPI, but still waiting for our head referee to announce it. Here it comes.
Pass interference. Offense. Number 7. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
Brendan, I'll tell you what, this Glenville defense has Braden DeVito. They have him more confused than a chameleon in a bowl full of Skittles because he just doesn't know what to do right now. He can't run the ball. There's nowhere to run. He gets time to throw. There's nobody open. There's just nothing he can do against this defense.
A chameleon in a bowl full of Skittles. My man, I've never heard that. That's a good one. I'd be confused too. It's first and a mile. DeVito out to his left, throws back across his body across the field. That was dangerous. Incomplete for Lambert toward the 31-yard line. It is 2nd and 25 with 5:14 to go in the first half. Glenville 16, Shelby 7.
I was confused too because I forgot DeVito's first name there for a second, and we're
the
calling
taking over the world.
We're calling Braden DeVito every play. That time he tried to go sidearm on it, almost 3/4 low there, and again, just a little bit behind his receiver.
In the meantime, our Division III state championship game, which is on the docket next, kicking off at 3 o'clock local time. Toledo Central Catholic and Bishop Watterson. I believe the Fighting Irish have just arrived off to the east end of the stadium. Meanwhile, the Whippets just called timeout.
Boy, is that going to be a fun one. 3rd straight year in a row. Those two teams will match up down on this field for the D3 title.
Let's go check in with Chris while we've got a break on the field.
Guys, there's still a long way to go in this one, obviously, but what I'm seeing down here sideline is maybe a cumulative effect taking place. Some of these big hits. One of my friends, Pat Salmonage, one of the coaches for New Albany back in the day, he likes to say that the best running backs give you knees, elbows, and helmets, and we've seen a steady dose of that from Glenville today. And I just think between the cold and the relentless pursuit or the relentless attack from this Cleveland on both sides of the ball, the cumulative effect is starting to have an impact on the Whippets in the way that they try to catch passes and in the way they try to make tackles.
Listen, Glenville's team isn't just a good team. There are certain places where you can talk about a program, and the Glenville Tarblooders have been a good program for a long time, right? They've got the NFL tradition, having sent 28 total players to the NFL during their program history. And so in some regard, Ryan, it becomes the expectation. Even though they've only won a couple of state titles, these kids know that they've got an opportunity to write their names into Glenville lore here this week, and they play fast and physical.
It's the standard. You don't ever want to be the group or the kid that lets the community down or lets that tradition down. You want to be that next guy going to Ohio State, going to the NFL.
All right, here we go. 2nd down and 25 from the 20. DeVito bails on the pocket. He's back at his own 11. Hit and dropped. 3 different Tarblooders smother him in the backfield. DeVito is seeing ghosts. It is 3rd down and almost 35. Flag down at the 17-yard line near side. That's where the defense generally is standing. May there have been excessive celebration, I'm not sure. Jarvis Cockwell is officially credited with the sack, but there were 3 Tarblooders that just swallowed DeVito.
Sincere Johnson was in there leading the charge. On that play, even though it was a big loss and a sack, you could see the athleticism of DeVito, because any other quarterback in this tournament probably would have went down 5 or 6 seconds before. He was doing everything he could to keep that play alive. There's just nothing to do when the walls are closing in.
Against the defense, number 23. Dead ball, unsportsmanlike. Defense, number 8. Both 15-yard penalties will be enforced from the previous spot. The down counts.
We mentioned it earlier. Glenville too often has self-inflicted wounds. This is going to hurt. They tackled him at the 8-yard line. 2 different unsportsmanlike conduct fouls that are dead ball fouls and are both being marked off. So instead of the ball at their own 8-yard line, the ball is at their 38-yard line. Now, it's still third down. They still need the 45, but the Whippets were good as gone, and now they've got life.
Yeah, you may have a 3rd and 8 play. I'm pretty sure you don't have a 3rd and 40 play. So, and it had to be celebration after the sack?
It was 2 unsportsmanlike fouls after the sack. Yep. One was on Sincere Johnson and one on DeAndre Taylor. Wow. Well, Glenville's trying to exert their will, that's for sure, as DeVito goes into the gun. He's got near side corner pressure, and his feet gave out. He heard the footsteps from Cordell Scott, and the turf monster got him. He's tackled after he's touchdown at the 29-yard line. Everything that could be going wrong right now for Shelby is.
And I don't know if the turf monster mattered there, because not only was Cordell Scott coming in on him, but Kalen Bailey was too. I don't know how much longer DeVito would have been upright anyway. Going back to Chris's point about the mentality and Glenville just wearing on them, you thought maybe that penalty could breathe some life into that mentality. Obviously not.
Shelby's run 29 plays for 40 yards of offense. Punting the ball down the field, it carries in the wind back to Gibson at the 30. He's already returned one, flag down behind him. Crosses midfield up the right side at the numbers 35, and Michael Shepard, the punter, drags him down at the 29-yard line. It is a net 0-yard punt, but there are flags down back where the return started. Let's wait and see.
Looked like Jalen Edwards. Jalen Edwards and Luke Blevins got tied up, and that's where they threw the flag.
I think it may be a foul on Shelby. Everybody's marching backwards. Let's see.
Blindside block. Number 2 of the receiving team.
Okay.
15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
So unfortunately on the initial signal, our head referee pointed the wrong direction. But it was a blindside block on Glenville, so that negates an enormous return. God, I feel like I'm a broken record saying that over and over. Instead of having it at the plus 29, they have it at their own 25-yard line. And now Glenville has a long road in front of it with 3:44 left before halftime. They lead 16-7. An offensive score, a field goal, and a punt return for touchdown. Nelson turns and gives the ball in the backfield. Much better penetration this time from the Whippet defense. Wirtz was in there. So was Carter Kessler. Nowhere to go, a loss of 2.
You can see why Wirtz is pretty much the player of the year everywhere for this defense. They're just a great job of shedding a block and continuing that speed as he comes down the line and wraps up the ball carrier from behind. 143 tackles on the year. I don't know if I've ever seen numbers like that for Wirtz.
Truly remarkable. They're officially calling it 2nd and 13 from the 22-yard line as Nelson again with 3 running backs. He's in the gun. Turns and fakes the handoff to Phillips as whistles blow the play dead. Flags are out, and I think it's another Glenville penalty.
It is a false start here on Glenville. It seems like the only team on this field right now that can trip up Glenville is themselves, because they're just going backwards right now, and it's all, most of it at least, is unforced errors.
8 penalties for 90 yards in the first half. We haven't yet played 22 full minutes of football.
And that's something Coach Ginn mentioned this week in the teleconference, that they needed to be disciplined.
2nd and 17. Phillips has a hole up the middle. He's across the 30. Sheds Bowman's tackle across the 40, and he's finally dragged down. Glenville has these peaks and valleys. They shoot themselves in the foot time and time again, and then bang, hit an explosive on a big run up to the 41.
I'll tell you what, Ramel Phillips reminds me a lot of James Peoples, who's running the ball for Ohio State right now.
Yeah.
James Peoples had such a great jump cut, but it wasn't helping him earlier in the year. Later on, now he started to go more north and south.
This time it's Newell straight ahead, and his first down carry picks up 11 as he's tackled on top of the Pro Football Hall of Fame logo at midfield. He's onto the plus side of the field. And somebody's helmet came off from the defensive side.
It was Quentin Albert.
Yeah, Albert will come out, and it does not negate the play. 1st and 10 for Glenville. Tarblooders have one timeout left, so do the Whippets with 2:20 and now counting here in the second quarter.
Albert goes out. Kyler Williams comes back in. Albert hasn't played much D-line throughout the year because they haven't needed him to. Williams has played a bunch.
Nelson fakes the handoff, throws a bomb down the left side. He's got Pauly in stride, and he could not come up with it. Sadler's going to see that in his nightmares for years. He was racing between the numbers and the sideline, up the left side in perfect stride. The ball bounced off his hands 10 yards shy of the end zone. Incomplete. He burned his defensive back by 5 yards.
Yeah, he was well past DeVito, and Nelson threw a nice ball. It looked like, I don't know if he took his eyes off it or Sadler just reached back, kind of leaned his shoulders back to let it fall in, and it might have hit his shoulder pad as it was dropping into his arms.
He's so frustrated with himself. He just took his helmet off and cracked it against his forehead on the sideline, headbutting it in frustration. Now on 2nd and 10, an out route to the right side, caught by Joseph Saffold, the Bowling Green commit, who made a man miss, surged forward for a few yards and picks up a first down.
Pauly Sadler may want to talk to Gus Farad about that before doing that again. That might not be the best thing to do. Farad kept his helmet on, though, at least. But that may not be the smartest thing to do for Sadler. I understand the frustration, though.
It's a gain of 13 for Saffold and a Glenville first down to the 34 with a $140 in counting. Newell is the tailback, 2 fullbacks in front of him on either side of Nelson. They hand to Newell. He hesitates. Flag thrown in behind as Wirtz tackles the running back from behind at the 26. Clock stops at 1:30. It's a hold on the Tarblooders, who now have 100 penalty yards before halftime, and yet they lead by 9.
Another great run from Newell going to be negated by a penalty flag.
Cannot even imagine what Shelby's coaching staff must be thinking right now.
Offense, number 79. 10-yard penalty for the previous spot. Replay first down.
Somebody needs to step up on the Whippet side of the ball and make a play, because Glenville is doing whatever they want out on the field, especially when it's about north and south football. Saffold wide to the right, still hanging his head. Pauly Sadler needs to get his mentality checked. He's out wide to the left, and he finally seems like he's ready to go as Nelson snaps the ball and hands it off once again to Phillips, who just runs through a wide open hole. Phillips at the 30, cuts it to the left. He's at the numbers at the 20, at the 12, and he's pushed out of bounds by DeVito at the 5. A huge play all the way down to set up 1st and goal.
Ramel Phillips may be a smaller guy. We talked about just 5'9", 163, but that low center of gravity, you can't arm tackle him. You saw him easily break through 2 arm tackles there, then a little cut to the outside, and he's off to the races. Gets run down finally on the angle, but a great run by Phillips.
It's a gain of 38 yards and sets up Glenville in a perfect spot. The Tarblooders won the toss and deferred to the second half. They're trying to get a touchdown late before halftime. Newell straight ahead. Oh my gosh, he put his foot in the ground and made a defender look silly, and then cut back across the formation and scores right down the middle. He's got the Whippets looking around going, what is happening? Another Glenville touchdown.
It looked like Bryce Samsel was going to bring him down for a 2-yard loss, and he can't get him. And then he bounces out of there through the hole and into the end zone. You see Samsel get up off the turf and just kind of looking into the sky like what just happened. And you saw Sam Wirtz in the backfield bent over with his hands on his hips, just like what is going on?
Glenville calls a timeout here before a potential extra point or maybe even a 2-point conversion. Perhaps that's what they're trying to decide. Newell scores, capping a 7-play, 75-yard drive that took 2:47 off the clock and included a couple of penalties. Glenville suddenly has got it going offensively here in the second quarter. They're up to 199 yards of total offense now because their last 2 scoring drives have marched deep down the field. Their last 14 plays have gone for 129 yards total. 22-7, Glenville trying to figure out, do they want to go for 2 or kick an extra point? There's 57 seconds left this first half of the state championship game, and where it was a defensive battle early on, suddenly it's turning into a lopsided contest, and Shelby has got to apply the tourniquet. It looks like Glenville's going to line up and go for 2. They send Sadler and Saffold out wide to the right. One of the running backs, Devon McDougal. On the left-hand side of the formation as Nelson goes under center. They've also got Lorenzo Smith, a tight end. A second tight end into the game. Shelby powers the line. They throw a screen to the right-hand side. That was the easiest 2-point conversion Glenville's had all year. They manned everybody up in the middle and made it look like they'd run, and they flicked it out wide to the right where Saffold caught it coming back toward the quarterback, made one juke cut and scored. 24-7.
And things just seem to be snowballing right now for Shelby. And as you mentioned, Brendan, Glenville gets the ball to start the second half. Now they have 57 seconds here left on the clock in this half, but I don't know what you've seen from this first half that makes you think that Shelby is going to be able to drive down the field quickly and get anything. It may just be a knee and head into halftime and regroup.
I want to remind you that during our halftime coverage, Rich DeRoser, the Director of Communication at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, will join our coverage. Glenville 24, Shelby 7 with 57 seconds left before halftime. Glenville won the state championship in 2022, its first in school history after losing in 2009 and in 2013. Then they doubled it up by winning in 23. They were not able to do a three-peat last year as Lemon puts it in the air down the right side, so looking for a third title in 4 years. Fielded by Shelby Upman at the 30. Here he comes 35-40 near side, near midfield, and driven out of bounds. Decent return by Luke Blevins, whose touchdown earlier in the game was wiped out on replay, but the freshman did a good job there and gave Shelby a fighting shot. They are just shy of midfield with 50 seconds to go and a timeout.
You mentioned Blevins, just a freshman. He seemed to, when we've seen him, give a little spark to this Shelby team. I wonder if we'll maybe see a little bit more of number 18 in the second half to try to get some things going.
Braden DeVito, one of the all-time great passers in OHSAA history with nearly 13,000 passing yards. He's 3 for 12 today for 38 yards, and as a team, they have 15 carries for 2 net yards. Shelby just runs the ball straight ahead as though they are saying probably enough's enough for the first half. A gain of 1 to set up 2nd and 9. The clock is at 37 seconds, so the Whippets only need to run one more play before they could get to the break.
And yeah, you have to think, especially with the clock running down, they don't seem to be in too much of a hurry. Nothing crazy here where you could give the ball back to Glenville and give them a shot at anything.
17 unanswered points for the Tarblooders here in the second quarter as DeVito runs a play to the left-hand side and then just kind of sits down at the 45-yard line to close out the first half. Shelby was certainly in the thick of things in the first quarter. It wasn't too bad early on, two defenses that were clashing in a big way. But once Glenville settled in, they have been basically unstoppable. And at the halfway point of the state championship game, the boys from Cleveland looked the part. 24-7, Glenville out front of Shelby. Working on trying to connect with Shelby head coach Rob Mahaney
on his way into the locker room. The numbers are not pretty for the Whippet offense. 41 total yards on 31 total plays. Something's got to give as we go down and check in with Chris and Coach.
Coach Mahaney, tough first half for your team, but it looked like they just never lost any of their passion. What do you do in the halftime break to make some adjustments?
Yeah, obviously we just got to clean some things up, up front with the protection and the run game stuff. We got to clean that stuff up. But, our kids are going to keep fighting, man. You know what I mean? We got another chance to play one more half for these kids to play. We got 18 seniors. We're going to get them going at halftime and come out here and get everything we got.
Sounds good, man. Go to the locker room. Thanks.
Appreciate Coach Mahaney for stopping by on what certainly was not the first half that he and his Whippets drew up. Also, Glenville, 9 penalties for 100 penalty yards before the break. It could be substantially worse. 24-7 at halftime. Glenville trying to win a state title for the third time in 4 seasons. They are halfway home, leading by 17. Let's pause for these messages. Our halftime coverage is on the way. We'll pause for messages from your local station. You're listening to the OHSAA Radio Network.
Here's to the ones who put in the work, the no days off, rise and grind warriors who live by the oath of my body is my temple. And when their temple needs to rebuild after a long workout, athletes of all types choose low-fat chocolate milk. It's delicious and contains the right mix of protein and carbs to help refuel exhausted muscles. Chocolate milk turns Motivation Monday into Flex Friday. Crush your goals with the help of a real recovery drink. Try it for yourself. Built with chocolate milk, the official beverage of high school sports, is brought to you by the American Dairy Association Mideast.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
The year was 1907. The Cubs won the World Series and the Ford Model R hit the assembly line. While here in Ohio, school administrators came together to form the Ohio High School Athletic Association. One thing that hasn't changed since 1907 is the dedication of the OHSAA to education-based athletics in Ohio. School sports teach responsibility, sportsmanship, and life lessons that stay with students long after their playing days are over. The OHSAA seeks to prepare students not for the next level of sport, but for the next level of life.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the OHSAA and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
For 10 minutes and 40 seconds of this game, we were scoreless. Then a 92-yard punt return from Cleveland Gillenville's Jaquan Gibson opened the floodgates, and the Tarblooders have a 24-7 lead over Shelby at halftime of this Division IV state championship game. Welcome everybody back into Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium. I'm Ryan Baker. Happy to be joined at halftime by Rich DeRozier. He's the Director of Communications for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And Rich, it's great to see you again. It's one of my favorite things about this weekend is coming up here and getting to see everybody from the Pro Football Hall of Fame and getting to reconnect with them. What does this weekend mean for you guys here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Well, thanks for being here and all that you guys do to support high school athletics. For us, it's an opportunity to talk about the game of football, to football players, but also to people who maybe aren't football players. You know, today we actually have 2 bands going through the museum. And what we like to think we can do is use the game of football to talk about the values that the game instills and how those values transcend the game and can be applied to any aspect of life. You need the same discipline to be a great musician as you do to be a great athlete. You got to get up early and practice. You got to practice every day. You got to work on your craft. And the greatest of the greats to do that in the sport of football are recognized here, but the message can be delivered to anyone.
And that's something that you guys live by and value all year long, not just the weekend of the state championships. You have an exhibit starting up soon, Stark County Proud, which goes into some of the history of Stark County high school football.
We've, according to our records that have been kept since professional football began in 1920, if you played one game of professional football in the National Football League and graduated from a Stark County high school, we're going to have an exhibit that recognizes you.
That's awesome.
We've got that number at 97. Then there's other stories we want to tell. That's just players. We also have some coaches. We have some front office people who have come through Stark County. We've got pylons down here. The pylon was invented by someone from Stark County, so we're going to tell his story. Just some fun things, some fun things like that, some recognition for some people, some of whom played one game, some of whom played a handful of games or a couple of seasons, and then you get the 5 who reached that pinnacle and reached the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Marion Motley, Alan Page, Dan Deerdorf, Paul Brown, Len Dawson. So we want to celebrate them. We want to have an Alliance Day to recognize and celebrate Len. We'll have a Massillon Day for Paul Brown, Canton Day for Deerdorf, Page, and Motley. So a lot of things coming up between mid-December and the end of February.
That's very cool, and so many things, just like the guy who invented the pylon from Stark County, things that you can learn at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm sure there's a lot of student athletes, team members, band members, or even fans up here this weekend that have never been to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. This is their first experience with it. What is it like seeing some of their reactions when they get to go through the hall for the first time, or maybe even meet one of the guys enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
I think a good example of that was Cincinnati Anderson yesterday. They came into the museum. We have Warren Moon in residence this week. Warren is the latest Hall of Famer to come to Canton for multiple days on what we call a residency program. And they didn't expect to meet him there, but they go into the Game for Life Theater, which is a holographic movie experience. And Warren's story is one of the stories told in that production about how he was told black men don't play quarterback in the NFL. And he said, I'm not giving up my dream. He had to go to Canada, play a few years there to prove himself, eventually signs with the Oilers and puts together a 17-year NFL career after playing a half dozen years in Canada. He played until he was in his early 40s. So they see that story on the screen, then they get to meet him in person, and I know that made a great impression on them.
And Warren was on the field as this D4 state title game kicked off here earlier, welcoming the teams to the field. It's halftime of the Division IV state championship game. Cleveland-Glenville leading Shelby 24-7. We're joined at halftime by the Director of Communications from the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Rich DeRozier. Rich, I love coming up here every year and seeing what's new at Hall of Fame Village, because every year for the past 5 or 6 years there is something new. We've the Constellation Center for Excellence, then we had shops and restaurants, the hotel is being built out there in the distance now, the Ferris wheel is up. What's next here at Hall of Fame Village?
Well, I won't speak for the Village, but I'd love to take this opportunity to talk about a project that's actually a Hall of Fame project, which you can see just, if you're looking as we're sitting, looking across the stadium, across the museum. I don't even know how many pieces of heavy equipment are out there today, and I see the construction crew wearing their vests, working hard on
the backhoes are moving
on a cold day. That is the KeyBank Center at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, slated to open in spring of 27. It would be in time for Enshrinement Week activities for the class of 2027. That's going to be a multi-purpose event space where we can have gatherings. We can do things with well over 1,000 people there, inside and outside. Probably about 800 inside, and then rooftop and on the turf field that'll be adjacent to it. We are keeping the mini field adjacent to it. It'll be slightly smaller in footprint than it was before it got torn up for this construction work, because we know how popular that is for people who are just visiting the museum, or youth teams from around here come over and use that. So that's going to be preserved. But this is going to give us a space to host events, but also something that we're proud of, and our goal is to give back to the community, and we know how hard it is for nonprofits to raise money. We're going to allow nonprofits to use that space at cost to them, so that if they want to hold a fundraising event, they're not just spending. You know, if you're a 501c3 and you hold a fundraiser event, it's not uncommon to see every dollar you raise go back out the door to stage the event. You got to rent a facility, you got to have food and beverage, you're going to bring in guests, whatever that might look like. So what we want to do to help the nonprofits around here is at least give them a venue at little to no cost, and maybe lower that overhead for them, so that more of the money that they raise they can keep.
Wow, that's great. And I mean, you guys just giving back to the community all the time. It's just an awesome thing that you guys do up here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We mentioned 24-7, Cleveland Glenville leading Shelby at the half. What would be your message to these teams at halftime, Rich?
If I'm Shelby, I'm saying don't take your foot off the gas like they nearly did last week. They had a big lead last week against Indian Valley and almost lost their chance to be in this game. And I think that's probably the message, and probably one that Coach Ginn doesn't even really need to say out loud. I think they know that. For Shelby, it's a team that is, I think, still struggling to figure out how to deal with all that quickness. There's a combination of quickness and size up front that they haven't quite figured out. I think when they look to do something against some of the bigger guys up front, they're getting beat through the gaps by some of the more athletic Glenville players. They're just not giving DeVito time to really set his feet and look over the field very much.
Rich, final thing here. If people want more information on the Pro Football Hall of Fame, or they want to buy tickets and get up here, what do they need to do?
Just go to profootballhof.com. There'll be events listed there, how to get tickets. We are open every day the rest of the year. We're open every day from now until next Thanksgiving, except for Christmas Day.
Rich DeRozier, Director of Communications for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. As always, thanks for stopping by and taking some time at halftime.
We appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for having me.
As Rich gets out of here, let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the OHSAA Radio Network. Halftime, Division IV state championship game, Cleveland Glenville leading Shelby by a score of 24-7. We'll break down some of the stats of the first half coming up next. But first, let's pause for these messages from the Ohio High School Athletic Association. You're listening to the OHSAA Radio Network, brought to you by Chocolate Milk.
In school sports, it's easy to see the wins, the moments that make headlines. But there's so much work that goes unseen for any of it to happen. My name is Phil Risen, and I'm the Executive Director of the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. Throughout the country, athletic administrators dedicate countless hours to making life-changing opportunities possible for student athletes through sports. Their sacrifice is fueled by the belief that every student can grow and deserves their time to shine. On behalf of the NIAAA, we want to thank every athletic administrator for your tireless dedication to providing 7.8 million students across the country a path to a better future.
This message presented by the NIAAA, the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
EA Graphics is the official state tournament merchandise partner of the Ohio High School Athletic Association. EA Graphics is on-site at OHSAA tournament contests with t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, and many other apparel items. And it doesn't end when the tournament is over. Check out OHSAA tournament merchandise online at shopohsaa.com. That's shopohsaa.com. EA Graphics and the OHSAA, wear a piece of history.
Health Action Council is a member-driven, not-for-profit organization that provides employers with best practices for a healthy workforce through leadership, innovative services, and collaboration. Health Action Council works with employers to improve the quality, cost, and value of healthcare. The Ohio High School Athletic Association and Health Action Council invite all Ohio schools to join us for the Healthy Kids Step It Up Challenge. Find out details at healthykidsgo.org.
Hey, this is Kirk Herbstreit from ESPN, and you're listening to the State Football Championships on the OHSAA Radio Network.
This broadcast is a presentation of the Ohio High School Athletic Association Radio Network. Any commercial use, retransmission, or distribution without the express written consent of the OHSAA is strictly prohibited. That means it's not allowed. The announcers and production staff for this game were selected by the Ohio High School Athletic Association. Satellite distribution is provided by Skyview Networks. For more information, log on to the OHSAA Radio Network at www.ohsaa.org. Welcome back into Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium on the campus of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Cleveland Glenville has a 24-7 lead at the half in the Division IV state championship game. One state champion crowned last night. That was in Division II, where Avon is your back-to-back state champion. They beat Anderson by a score of 37-20. We've got a Division IV state champion to be crowned here at the end of this one, and then 5 more state champions coming up. The Division III state championship game at 3 o'clock between Toledo Central Catholic and Watterson. Tonight it's the Division I state championship game as Olentangy Orange battles Cincinnati St. Xavier. Then we've got 3 more tomorrow starting at 10:30 in the morning with the D7 game. That will be St. Henry versus Hillsdale. Then we've got Division VI at 3, Hopewell Loudon taking on Kirtland, and we wrap it up tomorrow night at 7:30 with the Division V game as Wheelersburg battles Liberty Center. Let's give you some of the stats and statistics from the first half. I guess those are both the same thing. Again, the score 24-7, Glenville over Shelby. Glenville had a slight edge in first downs in the game, 9-8. Rushing yards, Shelby with just 3. Cleveland Glenville has 177. Passing yards is in the edge of the Whippets, but not by much, 38-22. Not a great completion percentage for either team in this one. One of the biggest stories of the game so far is the penalties. Glenville has 9 for 100 yards in that first half. Shelby just 3 for 25. Time of possession pretty even. 12:42 for Shelby compared to 11:18 for Cleveland Glenville. Third down conversions, 3 of 8 for Shelby in the first half, 1 of 4 for Cleveland Glenville. Shelby did go for 1 4th down. It was a fake punt that did not work for them, so they are 0 of 1. Red zone scoring chances, both teams perfect so far. 1 of 1 for Shelby, 3 of 3 from Glenville. Some of the individual stats, let's start with Glenville. Romel Phillips, 123 yards rushing on 10 carries. Chris Newell Jr., 4 carries, 33 yards, and he has 2 touchdowns for Glenville. The quarterback, Arville Nelson, has 3 rushes for 14 yards. For Shelby, Luke Blevins, the leading rusher. He has 17 yards on his 1 carry. Michael Shepard has 2 carries for 3 yards in the Shelby score. Travis Sloan, 2 carries for just 2 yards. Braden DeVito came into this game with over 3,000 yards passing, a 73% completion percentage. He is just 3 of 12 on the game for 38 yards. The Glenville defense has wreaked havoc for him. He has hit his favorite receiver, Brady Bowman, twice for 34 yards. The other completion to Avery Lambert. Arvell Nelson, 2 of 6 passing for Glenville. Joe Saffold has 1 catch for 14 yards. Paulie Sadler has the other 1 for 8 yards. And then, of course, maybe the biggest play of the game, a 92-yard punt return for Jaquan Gibson. That was the first score of the game, got Glenville on the board in the scoring in motion. Michael Shepard, we mentioned, a 1-yard touchdown run. Emier Lemon, a 34-yard field goal, and then Chris Newell with rushing touchdowns of 14 yards and 6 yards. And that gets us to our halftime score of 24-7. 4-7. The players are starting to come back out onto the field. That means we are going to take our final halftime break, and then we will come back. Brendan Gulick and Chris Solwecki will be back with me, and we will have all of the action for the second half. Again, your halftime score in the Division IV state championship game: Glenville 24, Shelby 7. Let's pause now for these messages from the Ohio High School Athletic Association. You're listening to the OHSAA Radio Network, brought to you by Chocolate Milk.
Welcome to the home of Gridiron Legends, the newly renovated Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. Walk among the immortals of football inside the Hall of Fame gallery. Here you can stand face to face with the men who built America's game. Relive the greatest moments of Super Bowl history in the Lamar Hunt Super Bowl gallery and stand before the Vince Lombardi Trophy, while the NFL Today gallery is home to the NFL's most recent record-breaking moments. Plan your visit to the Pro Football Hall of Fame today at profootballhof.com.
There's just one place where students are students first, and athletics are played with purpose and perspective. That place is your local high school. High school sports offer more than the joy of competition. Studies show that student athletes in Ohio are also likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in other areas of their lives, including academics. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Being a teenager is tough.
There's the constant pressure to be liked.
Endless worrying about college.
Cyberbullying, high expectations, all the negativity.
There's no question. Being a teenager is tough. And what do Ohio's teens do when they want to block out the noise and clear their heads?
We play!
Research shows that teenagers who participate in high school sports have lower stress levels, more confidence, and greater self-esteem. And then there's the biggest benefit of all.
High school sports are fun.
Not just fun.
They're a lot of fun.
Encourage your teenagers to participate in a sport or activity when they go to high school. They'll stress less and smile more. And they'll be laying the foundation for a happier, healthier future.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Out front of Shelby. The OHSAA Radio Network would like to welcome our great affiliates, including Defiance, WONW, AM 1280. In Lima, WWSR, 97.1 FM, WCIT, AM 940, 98.5 FM. Marietta's WJAW, 100.9 FM. And in Oberlin, WOBL 107.7 FM and AM 1320. And also in Toledo, WQQO HD2 100.7 The Ticket. And in Weirton, West Virginia, WEIR River Talk 100.9 FM, 94.9 FM and AM 1430. And a reminder that the OHSAA Radio Network has all broadcasts available on your computer, tablet, or mobile device as well. Just log into the OHSAA Radio Network page at ohsaa.org. What a first half. Glenville 24, Shelby 7. It has me thinking back, Ryan, to 2 years ago when this Shelby offense was almost as dominant as they have been this year. They were 10-3 in 2023, including a loss to Glenville. They put up 50 on Lexington, 62 on Galleon, 48 on Highland, 71 on Van Wert in a playoff game, and then lost 50-14 to a very physical and fast, tough Glenville team. I don't know that we're going to see quite the same discrepancy, but right now, as that second quarter played out, boy, it started to become clear that Glenville is the real deal, and Shelby was struggling with their physicality.
That physicality, that speed, that athleticism, it's just hard to deal with. And it's almost like a great boxer that just hits you with body blow after body blow after
over
body
and over.
blow. And then eventually it takes you out. It wears you out. It drains your stamina. It drains your energy. And it doesn't even do that physically maybe as much as it does mentally. And we kind of saw that there. And for a Shelby team whose closest game all year is 11 points, and you just expect these things to work because they have for you all year, this can be as demoralizing for you mentally as much as it takes out of you physically.
Well, Shelby has regularly played with running clocks as they've basically boat raced their competition this season, averaging almost 40-point win per night. Shelby in their red tops, gray pants. They'll kick off from left to right to start this second half. Glenville's got a couple of deep men back at the 20. Last time Shelby scored a touchdown, they intentionally kicked it out of bounds. They had no desire to kick it deep to the Tarblooders, who already have a punt return for touchdown tonight. So let's see what they do here as Everett Harris approaches the ball, sends a squib kick bouncing at the 40-yard line, now to the 30, fielded at the 25. Here come the Tarblooders, breaking 1-2 tackles, and then finally Sam Wirtz wraps him up. Great job making sure there was no wiggle room for Martez Goulat. 24-7 Glenville as the offense takes the field.
One of the things Coach Rob Mahaney said that they would need on the defensive side of the ball was great pursuit. You saw great pursuit on that kick return there. There was a gaggle of red jerseys around the ball carrier.
So here come the Tarblooders, whose offense exploded in that second quarter. They had 199 yards in the first half, and all but 15 of them came in the second quarter. Nelson out of the gun, turns and hands the ball to Phillips, who's had a great day so far across the 20. At the numbers 25-30, he's got a crease with a flag down. Cross midfield, being chased on the right side. He is out of bounds at the 30. A huge explosive caught by Brady Bowman, but I think it's coming back.
And it is coming back as it's another
Negates
hole.
A 50-yard run. As much the scoreboard was the story of the first half, Ryan, they had 100 yards worth of penalties assessed and way more than that in terms of total yardage negated.
Number
well,
51.
Let's make it 110 now, Brendan, because they're going to be marching this one back. It's going to be probably about a 1st and 20 here for Glenville now. They just have no answer for the lines of scrimmage, and they have no answer for Ramel Phillips.
Down to Chris Sowecki.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, that hold, as soon as it was called at number 51, he put his helmet in his hands, and he just threw his head back in complete disgust. He knew he did it, and he knew that he separated his running back from a big return, a big game.
So instead of being on the plus 30, they're at their own 11-yard line as Phillips goes back to work, shakes off 2 tackles, and drags a defender across the 20. He gains 10 on 1st and 20 and sets up now a 2nd and 10 coming up. Phillips is doing all the hard work right now.
I don't know what it is about Phillips there that makes him so elusive, because Travis Sloan was in the backfield. It looked like maybe would have him down. I don't know if he's just doing the stanky leg or if he's got some wiggly hips or what it is, but
if you want to win the Division IV state title these last few years, history would tell us you got to run the ball well. Grady Kinsey for Indian Valley last year, 247 and 5 scores on the ground. Mr. Football in Ohio this year, as a plunge straight ahead for 2 is met by a whole bunch of Whippet linebackers. Wirtz was the first there, Samsel 2. And so it brings up 3rd down and 8 as they try to get the Whippet fans back into the game.
the spirit is still there, though. The spirit is still there for this Shelby team. You see Wirtz get up, waving to the crowd, and you hear them responding. They're not giving up yet in Shelby.
3rd down and 8 from their own 23. Hard count from Nelson, 3 in the backfield. High snap, turns it, hands to Phillips. He darts to the left, shakes a tackle, and another 25-30. Stiff arms a defender to the 35, out of bounds. The Whippets cannot tackle him. Incredible work from C.J. Newell this time. Newell and Phillips both have been amazing. Glenville is just running the ball at will.
There's not a lot of guys that can break through a tackle from Sam Wirtz. C.J. Newell did it there, and then he broke about 4 more downfield. They never even got him down. They just eased him off the side of the road into the out of bounds.
1st and 10 for Glenville. When they won the 2023 state title against Archbishop Alter, Deshaunte Jones ran for 161 and a touchdown. Ruel Tomlinson, their dual threat quarterback, had 83 yards and 2 scores. In 2022, their first state title, as Nelson fakes a pass, throws, hit from behind. DeVito forced the fumble. Ball is out, and it rattles on the ground. And ultimately, can't fumble it forward. They're going to actually call it an incomplete pass. Nelson's arm apparently was just barely coming forward as he got rocked from behind by Braden DeVito.
He might have got lucky on that call there because I think it was DeVito in the hit that made that arm go forward. Regardless, it was an easy recovery for Glenville, so it was going to be their ball no matter what.
In their first state title game, Deshaunte Jones ran for 195 and 3 touchdowns. Glenville, when they run the football well, they are really, really tough to beat. 2nd down and 10, they turn and hand to Phillips. Straight ahead behind that powerful interior offensive line, running up the left seam and stuffed at the 42-yard line. Those were 5 tough yards, but a good first down play, 2nd and 5.
Deshaunte Jones, he was decent, wasn't he? He was a pretty good running back here.
No
and
kidding.
Just a long line of them. And you talk about Ramel Phillips, and we see C.J. Knoll, and Phillips is down on the ground again. After his last run, he came out, was dealing with some cramps, maybe the same thing here. I mean, either Phillips or C.J. Knoll, if they were just a feature back, they would both be putting up all kinds of numbers.
9:46 to go in the 3rd quarter. It's the Division IV state championship game with Glenville leading Shelby 24-7. Let's pause for these messages from the Ohio High School Athletic Association. You are listening to the OHSAA Radio Network, fueled by chocolate milk.
Spectrum News 1, a new kind of news channel dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering communities across the Buckeye State. With your local forecast every 10 minutes and all of the essential news you need 24/7. Plus, in-depth shows and exclusives focused on your community. Always Ohio, always refreshing, always on. We are Spectrum News 1, exclusively on Spectrum.
You may think seatbelt laws are no big deal. Well, you couldn't be more wrong. Cops are cracking down day and night in the city, in the country, and all points in between. Make no mistake, if you don't buckle up, you will get caught and you will get a ticket. Even if you've gotten away with not buckling in the past, things are about to change. Cops are serious about seatbelt safety, so don't kid yourself. Buckle up every time or get a ticket. Click it or ticket. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Transportation.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in Ohio, who do you meet? Answer. Men and women who play high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Question. So where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
You can stay in the game long after your playing days are done. Become an OHSAA contest official. Log on to ohsaa.org for more information.
9:46 to go from the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton on the OHSAA Radio Network. I'm Brendan Gulick alongside Ryan Baker. Chris Silwecki down on the sidelines. Aaron Cassidy producing here for us this afternoon. It has been a fun game, 24-7 Glenville over Shelby in the D4 state title game. While we still have a break in the action here during this timeout, let's go down to Chris.
Thanks, guys. Watching Phillips here on the sideline, he is doing a little karaoke. He's trying to get himself loose, and it looks like he's got a little hitch in his giddy-up, but it looks like nothing's going to keep him out of this football game except for perhaps the coaching staff.
Well, Ryan's got a hitch in his giddy up, too. He just doesn't have to go avoid guys that want to bring him down. So, there's a little difference there.
Well, I mean, there's sometimes guys coming after me, but we don't want to talk about that here on the air.
It's a family-friendly broadcast.
I mean, getting hit in this cold, these guys are all getting up off the turf like I get out of bed every morning, just slow and methodical.
Glenville on a 3rd and 5 as play resumes. They give it to Newell, the Bowling Green kid, bursting forward and angling to the right, 1st down and more. Across the 40, out of bounds at the 30. It's amazing how Glenville just hits big play after big play.
Sam Wirtz does not miss tackles. I bet Sam Wirtz has missed, you could count it on one hand how many tackles he's missed this year, and they are breaking tackles from Sam Wirtz today on almost every run.
And with each tackle broken, it feels like it is breaking the Whippet spirit right now as the Shelby fans are starting to feel how cold it is outside. Not a whole lot of life from those folks right now. They have showed up in droves to support Shelby High School, but they have run into a really good football team this afternoon.
And a lot of teams feel like that playing Glenville.
Here's a fumble on the play. Nelson was not ready for the snap. Flag is out, and the play's whistled dead. Good news for Glenville because that was a disaster. It's a false start.
I think the only person ready for the snap was the center.
False start. Offense. Number 19. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Oh, my goodness. Glenville has got to get it figured out offensively. Their operation has just not been particularly clean, and yet when they are in rhythm, this team is really good. Saffold split out wide to the right on 1st and 15. Paulie Sadler out wide to the left. They hand the ball off up the middle to Newell, and on 1st and 15, he maybe picks up 1 yard. Wirtz was there, so was Samsel. Got a little help, too, from Quentin Albert. That was better run defense, 2nd and 14.
I would guess that Paulie Sadler could pitch like Paul Sewald too. So he's a good enough athlete that I think he could do it. So why not?
It's amazing how your brain just goes to things that are just so deep in the recesses of your mind. Baseball season feels a long way off on a cold day like today. 2nd down and 14, under 9 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Option play to the left. Nelson pitches it, well defended. Wirtz is trying to bring him down at the 40, shakes free, gets to the sideline where DeVito makes a tackle. The running back that time, Devon McDougal, he actually turned it up all the way to the 30, actually 29-yard line. He picked up 5, but I'll tell you what, that ultimately was a much more well-defended option play.
That was a very, very nice hesitation move by McDougal there to get the defender to stop and break, and then he could get past him and get on down the field.
Shelby offensively averages more than 450 yards per game over the last 4 seasons. Today they have 41 yards of offense, and they can't stop this Glenville rushing attack. Throw to the right side is well short of the intended target, incomplete. Nelson was trying to throw far side to Anir Lemon, who literally has done it all. He's kicked, he has been a receiver, he's been a defensive back. I've seen him on the line of scrimmage. Boy, oh man.
He's a big kid at 6'2", 6'3", 195. It seems like Nelson today has just underthrown his receivers all day, whether that be a short pass and it's low or just not quite far enough down the field.
Sure feels like a big play for the Whippets. It's 4th and 10 Glenville on Shelby's 29-yard line, and they're going for it. Moving right to left here in the second half. Glenville leads by 17 with 8:41 to go in the 3rd quarter, and Nelson turns around and calls for a timeout. First timeout called by the Tarblooders here in this second half. Hey, while we have a second, because this is such a unique opportunity, I think we got to have a little fun with this. It's 24-7 between the Tarblooders and the Whippets. This is like an all-world mascot game here for a state title.
I can't say this for sure, but I'm going to say it. This is the most unique mascot game ever.
It's gotta be.
At the state championship, because I looked this up. There's only one Tarblooder in the country, and that's Glenville. So they're the only team with that mascot name. The Whippets, I heard that their principal said that there were 5 other ones in the country. I looked it up on Max Preps. There's 10 total, including Shelby, so 11 mascots across the country with these names.
After this 4th down play, we'll check in for more on that with Chris down on the sideline. The teams are back out for a 4th and 10. Nelson has McDougal to his right. He's back to pass pro. Nelson uncorks down the right side toward the 5. It is caught and then dropped at the 5-yard line. It would have been a long completion, but staring up into that bright sunshine, the receiver could not hang on. I think it was D'Anthony Crittenden who just couldn't quite squeeze it, and ultimately a turnover on downs.
It was Crittenden. He made a nice adjustment there to get in front of the defender and even give a chance at a completion.
All right, quickly down to Chris.
I know you guys know this, but for our listeners who may not, a whippet is actually a greyhound. A tar blooder, however, that nickname came from a school battle cry that was started in the 1940s when they used to cheer, "We're going to whack the tar and blood out of you." So that's from the school website. That's the official version of what a tar blooder actually is.
According to the Cleveland School District, you can pick one of two options. That certainly is one of them. I think the more correct, culturally correct, politically correct version would be that a tar blooder was a person who installed railroad ties on the railroads, and that those ties were soaked in tar, and the workers worked so hard they were said to sweat tar and blood. So the mascot was supposed to symbolize hardworking, committed and dedicated people in the school and the community. But I got to tell you, Chris, I'm on your side. Second down and 10 after a quick run to the left-hand side that ultimately did not go anywhere. Actually, beg your pardon. It was thrown over to the left-hand side.
Yeah, they tried to
technically a little
throw a
there.
quick screen to Bowman in motion.
All right. So, 2nd and 10 for DeVito and company, who rolls to his left. Throws, oh boy, this could be a pick six. It's intercepted at the 30, and then Bowman plays great defense and drags down the defender from behind. Intercepted by Jalen Edwards. You could see it the moment the ball left DeVito's hands, he wished he had it back. Only his 4th interception of the whole season, and yet right now it feels like a backbreaker for the Whippets.
We talked all game about Jalen Edwards' anticipation out at that cornerback spot. They tried to get it quickly out to Bowman in space. That's 2 plays in a row. They tried to do that. Edwards was all over it. He looked like the intended receiver.
Braden DeVito has had one of the truly all-time great high school football careers. And in the final game of his career, things have gone so very south. It's disappointing for him. Shelby turns around, and on the first play from scrimmage, Newell is tackled by Wirtz on a really tough effort. Short gain, 2 yards, puts the ball for Glenville at the Shelby 19-yard line. No Whippet fan anywhere across the city would have believed that DeVito would be 3 for 14 for 38 yards passing, including a 17-yard completion with no touchdowns and an interception halfway through the 3rd quarter.
And that's no knock on him. That's just
Sure.
how good this Glenville defense is.
2nd down and 8 from the 19. Screen left side. Newell caught it. Shoestring catch. Wirtz got him from behind. Actually, beg your pardon, Kessler. Kessler fell on him across the 20-yard line on a play that looked like it was going to be for a loss. And then with that lunge forward at the end, they actually pick up 1. So a manageable 3rd down in the red zone here.
Arvell Nelson firing that screen pass at C.J. Newell. It's cold out there. Help your man's fingers out. Don't throw that one so hard.
Little touch, son. 3 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Out of the gun, Nelson with McDougal to his right. Beg your pardon, Phillips in the game. Throws it over the middle. Phillips sat down in the flat, bobbled it, incomplete. Samsel was there to try to deliver a little pressure, but the pass was dropped anyways, and it's 4th down for Glenville.
I'll tell you what, these Shelby defenders, they're not giving up at all. Wirtz is still flying around out there. Samsel's in the middle of things. Carter Kessler getting some pressure on that play. You are not going to see any quit in this team, even though they're down 3 scores right now.
4th and 7. The operation for Glenville right now moving through quicksand. They've got to get it going. They finally get the guys on the field they want, and it's because they've decided to try and attempt a field goal here. Got to get moving. 6 seconds to get the snap off. Lemon is standing at the 29-yard line. They put the ball down as the clock hit 0. Did they get it off?
They called a timeout.
And a timeout. Oh, wait a second. I think somebody's mouthpiece came out. So was there actually a timeout?
I think the ref said it was an official timeout. I think they just blew it down because of that.
It bailed out Glenville.
It sure did.
It's 24-7 with 7:04 left in the 3rd quarter. The Tarblooders are huddling on the 35-yard line near side. Now everybody breaks the huddle and goes out to the field. Play clock's at 10, and you can see they're starting to pick up their efforts a bit. And other referees stop play again. 6:53 to go in this 3rd quarter, and there's a little bit of irregularity on the field, let's say.
Scoreboard operator, please set the game clock to 7:04 it'll start on the snap.
So they had accidentally run off 11 seconds. Put those back on. And instead of trying a field goal, Glenville's going to go for it on 4th down and 7. They need the 11. Nelson. Kessler is breathing down his neck. Throws over the middle. It's incomplete. Turnover on downs as the Whippets bail out Braden DeVito. Nelson's pass was thrown a little bit behind Paulie Sadler, who would have caught it around the 2-yard line. Instead, a turnover on downs, and the Whippet offense comes back on the field.
Yeah, if Nelson makes a good throw there leading his receiver, Sadler just waltzes into the end zone. But as you mentioned, a little behind, and you can see Arvell as he comes off the field. A little not happy with himself there, knowing that should have been 6.
Okay, Shelby comes back. They've run 33 plays for 41 yards. Who is going to step up and try to reverse their fortunes? The game is far from over. 24-7 Glenville, 7 minutes to go, third quarter. DeVito by himself behind the line of scrimmage, 4 receivers. Pulls left, tucks it, and he goes right back to the right-hand side and into the waiting arms of a defensive tackle. He never felt somebody over there, and all of a sudden got whacked to the turf.
We haven't called Jameer Johnson's name much today, but he was all over that play. DeVito had nowhere to go. He just gave him a big old bear hug as he laid him down on the ground.
Yeah, Johnson has, you're right, not been quite as active today on the stat sheet. Both teams trying to get the right personnel on the field and right formation set. Out of the shotgun, 2nd down and 12 from their own 15-yard line right hash. DeVito takes a chest-high snap. Stops, fires back across the field. It is almost picked. Bowman went into a slide at the 25. Jaquan Gibson, who had the 92-yard punt return for touchdown earlier in this game, got his hands on it but couldn't squeeze it cleanly.
If you're a quarterback, your timing has to be so precise against this Glenville defense because Bowman was open. And then he wasn't. The closing speed of Aaron Scales on that play, if you're behind by just a half a second, chances are the ball's going to be going the other way. Your timing has to be so on point.
Glenville 24, Shelby 7, 6:11 to play, third quarter, 3rd and 12. DeVito under the gun again, and he throws it down to the right side, a check down with a big hit, incomplete pass. He just dumped it down to Caden Paz, the little slot receiver who sat down on the right side and got blasted.
It's so hard when you've got 4 white jerseys bearing down on you, but man, he had Brady Bowman coming across the field wide open.
Shelby's body language right now is about as depleted as you could envision. Again, game is not over. Apparently we have a hold on Shelby. They're going to decline the penalty, so Glenville will face a 4th down defensively. Shelby's body language right now, it's a mix of, man, we're just not having a whole lot of fun, and gosh, we can't get anything going.
And it's the frustration, the mentality, right, setting in on the offensive side of the ball. The defensive side, you don't see that. The defense is still up, they're there. The offense just isn't used to this.
Shepard booms it away on the right side, spiraling kick toward midfield, and it lands out of bounds, caught by one of the assistant coaches, away from Jaquan Gibson, who housed one earlier. And so with Glenville leading by 17 points, 6 minutes to go, third quarter of the state title game, Glenville will take over just onto the positive side of midfield. They'll actually put it at the 45-yard line. That's a great spot, 1st down.
Speaking of Glenville assistant coaches, we have to talk about James Gordon, their defensive coordinator, and just what a job he has done with this Glenville defense. And some people will say, well, it's easy when you got these athletes. That's not always the case. Keeping them interested, finding the right schemes. But James Gordon, everything he dials up with this defense, today especially, has worked to perfection.
1st and 10 for Nelson and company. He turns and hands the ball off to Phillips, who is hit in the backfield by Wirtz. Flying through the A-gap on the right side, Wirtz makes another powerful tackle. No gain, 2nd and 10.
Wirtz and Albert right there, and as we mentioned, this Shelby defense, there's no deflation in them. They're still giving it everything they got. And listen, this Shelby defense has not played terrible today.
They have only allowed 23 passing yards on the 12 Nelson attempts, but Glenville has run the ball well as we get some pre-snap motion on both sides. It's on the offense. 12 penalties for 120 yards on Glenville. That does not paint a pretty picture, and yet they lead by 17 points.
Just makes you think how good it can be, and we've seen it beating teams like Massillon throughout the year. I mean, they've lost to some good teams, but they've also beat some really good teams.
Half of Glenville's regular season schedule was against some of the who's who across the state of Ohio. St. Ed's, Avon, Hoban, played them all. On 2nd and 15, they tried to run a draw play up the middle, and the entire defense converged on it. Kessler and Wirtz and Shepard all there on the stop. Down to Chris.
You mentioned some of the tough teams this team, the Tarblooders, have played. How's this for starting off your regular season? Week 1 against Massillon. Week 2 against the Division I champions, Olentangy Liberty. Week 3 against the D2 champions, Avon. Week 4 against the D1 runners-up. It's just crazy how difficult that early season schedule was for the Tarblooders, and it helped prepare them for this.
It just didn't seem to bother them that they have lost 3 times this year, including starting the season 2-2 as Nelson on 3rd and 13 throws a screen to the right, slanting back to the middle, first down, flying across the sticks. He is caught from behind. Jeffrey Saffold down to the 20-yard line. Just wouldn't stop, keep his legs going, and he was one shoelace away from a play that should have gone for a couple of yards to turning into almost a touchdown.
I'll tell you what, Eddie George is going to like having that speed of Joseph Saffold at Bowling Green for the next 4 years. That is just a heck of an impressive-looking athlete there as he caught that ball, and then he was shot out of a cannon up the middle of the field.
McDougal back in the game at running back, 1st and 10. Too tight to the right, too wide to the left for Nelson. He hands the ball to McDougal, who shakes away from a defender, running right down the middle of the field, and he's tackled down to the 5-yard line. Full head of steam, plunging forward, a gain of 15. 1st and goal, Glenville.
It's just a train that is rolling downhill right now.
Shelby wants to get out there defensively as quick as they can. Right now they got too many men on the field and just barely get off in time. On 1st and goal, Nelson gives the ball once more. Oh, what a great jump cut in the backfield from McDougal. He got away from the first, but could not avoid Quentin Albert, who followed up, tackling him for a 4-yard loss. Back to the 9, 2nd down and goal. 24-7 Glenville with 3:18 to go, 3rd quarter.
Bryce Samsel coming off of that pile, limping a little bit. He's going to come out. Griffin Yeager comes in. Griffin Yeager, a heck of a job on the last play, sprinting off the field to not get a penalty on the Shelby defense.
Phillips has 134 yards on the ground, 81 for Newell, 25 for McDougal, 14 for Nelson. They're all contributing, and Landon Hearn is in the backfield. He touched it early, twice for 4 yards. Nelson fakes the option, got around the outstretched arms of Kessler originally, cut it back into the heart of the defense at the 5-yard line, where he's tackled by several Whippet defenders. Well defended. It's 3rd down and 5 after a gain of 4.
Nice penetration by Carter Kessler there into the backfield. Just a little head and shoulder shake from Arvell Nelson allows him to get out of the shoestring tackle of Kessler, but there was 3 or 4 teammates had his back.
Crittenden leaves the field. Hardin replaces him at wide receiver. Lemon goes flanked out wide to the right. 3 receivers to the left, including Sadler and Saffold. The running back, this time Landon Hearn, the junior, who's only 145 pounds. He's got a huge offensive line. All the Whippets are pressing up. Nelson throws a fade to the right side. It is caught, and he is over the goal line. Touchdown, Lemon. He was in the end zone and was tackled backwards to the 1. Lemon celebrates as Glenville, with 2 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, pours on another score. It is 30-7.
That was easily Arvell Nelson's best throw of the day. That was pretty good coverage over there on the goal line as Lemon ran the out pattern. Just a perfect throw to get it right past the defender and into Lemon's hands, and a good job of Lemon by using his hands to catch the football, not letting that get into his body.
7 plays, 45 yards, took 3:58 off the clock as Glenville scores again. This offense for the Tarblooders has only stopped itself. Lemon scored the touchdown. Now he's going to kick the extra point. Good snap, good hold, and his kick is up and good. Missed the last one, but put this one home. After punting on the first 2 drives, Glenville's gone field goal, touchdown, touchdown, couple of turnover on downs, and they have gotten back into the end zone. Let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the OHSAA radio network. With 2 minutes left in the third quarter from Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton. This is the Division IV state championship game with Glenville leading Shelby 31-7. Brendan Gulick, Ryan Baker, Chris Solwecki, and Aaron Cassidy with you high atop the stadium. A great crowd on hand here for our morning contest, the second of 7 state championship games here this weekend. Congratulations to the Avon Eagles. They repeated as Division II champions last night, walloping Anderson from Cincinnati in a rematch of the D2 title game. Coming up this afternoon at 3 o'clock, we've got a rematch of the D3 title game from last year as Bishop Watterson tries to win a 30th game in a row. They'll take on Toledo Central Catholic for the 3rd straight season. Mason Cook, the upman, for the second time returns a kick from Glenville, and he gets cracked again at the 30-yard line, tackled by Cartez Yancey. So Shelby will take over 1st and 10 from their own 31 officially, 31-7 Glenville.
We talked about the Whippets earlier, right? And the racing dog and the mascot. Well, they're not named the Whippets because of the dog. So the story here is there used to be a Shelby Cycling Company, Brendan, and their main model was the Shelby Whippet. And Clarence Wagner, who was from Shelby, rode a bike across the country multiple times. And he would donate those bikes to the football team here as we get ready for this first snap.
DeVito moves a couple of guys off to the left. Creative play design. He'll keep it, run it straight ahead where he got smoked by Yancey at the 34-yard line. DeVito ahead for 3 yards, 2nd and 7.
So Wagner would give the bikes to the football team for training purposes so they could use them for exercise and whatever they needed to do. And then it became, because he gave those bikes, somebody said they were as fast as a Whippet, and that's how Shelby became the Whippets. Now it's just nice that they have the Whippet, the Greyhound racing dog, as their mascot, but that's the story behind them being the Whippets.
Look at you. I love that. DeVito hit in the backfield and smothered. Ohio State commit Jameer Perez put all 6'4", 321 pounds right on top of DeVito and smashed him back to the original line of scrimmage at the 31, 3rd and 10.
Maybe Jameer Perez just got the news on the sideline that Chris Henry Jr. committed to Ohio State and is going to be a part of that Buckeye class, and that gave him a little extra juice and jump there as he got into the backfield.
That's a big get for the Buckeyes a couple days after the start of the early signing period. DeVito on 3rd and 10. Throws off his back foot. It almost got picked. Bowman broke up another would-be interception at the 35-yard line. DeVito is down in the backfield, and there is a flag sitting right next to him.
It's going to be roughing the passer. I don't know if it was Bailey or Johnson that hit him. DeVito's getting up gingerly here off of the turf.
Wow. Roughing the passer. Number 94 defense. That's a 15-yard penalty from the previous spot and an automatic 1st down.
So it was Jameer Johnson there on the roughing the passer. But Brendan, you mentioned it. I don't know if there's been one time in this game where DeVito was just planted, set both of his feet, and been able to throw. Everything has been off of the back foot.
13 penalties for 135 yards against Glenville, and yet they lead by 24 points in the state championship game as they are overwhelming Shelby. Shelby has 39 yards of offense on 38 plays. Nobody does this to the Whippets. It's a handoff. Wide to the right-hand side, and 2 Tarblooders just crunch the Shelby running back, who is still down. A couple guys blocking our view from who the running back is. I believe it's 32, or is it 21 Sloan? Okay. It's Sloan, not Baker. Oh boy, Sloan is clearly shaken up writhing in pain as he is attended to by an athletic trainer.
And that run that Sloan just made, probably in most of their games this year, that's a 5-10, maybe even more yard run, but not with this defense. Not when you have Sincere Johnson, not when you have Aaron Scales, not when you have Chris Newell, not when you have these guys that just pursue so well to the football and are so fast. There are holes there, but as soon as you see it and you're like, oh, I'm going to go that way, that hole is closed.
Shelby has carried the ball 21 times today for 1 net yard.
I mean, that's brutal. And it's not like they've been making bad plays. It's not like they're going to the wrong hole. It's not like they're not blocking well. They're doing everything they've done all season long. It just doesn't work when the other team on the side of the football field is that team with the red G on their helmet.
That was a heck of a hit by Sincere Johnson. They just showed it on replay. Johnson over the top after Jalen Edwards went low and stopped Sloan, who is back on his feet, but
walking off on his own power.
The combination of the hard hit and the biting cold on this sunny but exceptionally cold day. Second and 10. Let's go down to Chris here.
Yeah, you saw several of the Whippet players standing around their fallen teammate, and that is absolutely par for the course for this team. A couple of quotes that I found from these guys. We made a commitment to do whatever was necessary. DeVito said, we have a brotherhood, and any time we get to spend together is a blessing. Kessler said, there's no reason to set a low standard for yourself when you know that you and your brothers could go higher than that. So win or lose today, this team has forged a brotherhood over the course of the last several years, and losing 18 seniors is going to be a real challenge for this football program, but they are going to have these memories that will last them a lifetime.
Likely the final play of the third quarter is another Glenville defensive highlight. Kalen Bailey has been a monster. He sacks DeVito back at the 34-yard line. Braden cannot keep this guy out of the backfield. Shelby has no answer. Bailey with another big play to end the third quarter. You used the word body blows earlier, and it just feels like it is so emblematic. Glenville is punching with, quite frankly, very little counterpunch. 31-7 at the end of the third quarter. Let's pause for these messages from your local station. You're listening to the OHSAA Radio Network.
I can't believe we have to make this commercial.
It's ridiculous.
You'll think it's ridiculous too. Listen to this.
This commercial is about, well, it's about parents being rude at high school athletic events.
Ridiculous, right?
It gets worse. Studies show more than 75% of new high school officials are quitting because of bad adult behavior.
So now there's a shortage of refs here in Ohio, in almost all sports.
No officials means no more games.
Is that what you want for us?
Come on, parents.
It's time to grow up.
Cheer for your team.
Be proud of your children.
But stop being so ridiculous.
And don't make us run another commercial.
Because we will.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association, reminding you to always practice good sportsmanship.
You guys just didn't want it bad enough. That should have been an easy win. What were you doing out there? You gotta hustle. You could have made that play if you'd been open.
On the car ride home after the game, when you think you're helping by telling me what I did wrong and what I need to work on, all I hear is that I'm not good enough, that I'm supposed to be perfect, that it's not okay to lose. On the car ride home, all I need to hear is how much you love me and enjoy watching me play, that my worth isn't determined by my performance, that even on my worst day, I am worthy, that you see me learning, growing, and doing my best. And that is enough.
This message presented by the OHSAA and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Glenville Tarblooders are 12 minutes away from a third state championship in the last 4 seasons. The inner city Cleveland school that has had so much success over the years finally breaking through with its first title in 2022. Maybe these are the glory years for Glenville right in the present moment. They are suffocating this incredible Shelby offense. 31-7 as Braden DeVito sets up for a third down and very long. From his own 34, he needs the other 44. Throws it down the right side. It is deflected and incomplete. The pass could have been caught at the sticks, but Jalen Edwards went leaping up into the air and got to it before a Shelby receiver.
I'll tell you what, there's a little bit of size issue with Jalen Edwards at 5'6", 150 pounds. But he's just a sophomore. He's the next great one in the line of these Glenville defenders. And I mean, he's here now, but he's the next one that's going off to Bowling Green or Akron or somewhere playing college football, because that is a heck of a cornerback.
An intended receiver was the tight end Kessler, as Shepard, the punter, punts it out of bounds intentionally about 20 yards down the field. We'll see where they officially mark him out. But it's going to be very close to midfield, and they'll put it right on the stripe. 31-7 Tarblooders, 11:48 to go in the fourth quarter. A score for Glenville would institute a running clock. Who would have thought Glenville would handle Shelby the way they have? The Whippet offense, the Whippet defense in the first quarter, quite frankly, looked like they were up for the challenge. But whatever Glenville figured out in the second quarter has just turned this game on its head. Nelson in the shotgun, 3 receivers. He hands to McDougal. Puts his right foot in the ground, cuts to his left, off the left tackle, where he is quickly tackled. Dropped by Landon Fultz. It's a gain of 2, second down and 8.
And you can see there, the defense is still pursuing to the ball. They're still doing what they need to. A punt return for a touchdown never helps. And then we just talked about it. It's the body blows, right? The Shelby offense hasn't been on the field that much because they can't get anything going, and it goes right back to Glenville. So when your defense is on, there's that many plays against them, you wear down a little bit and things happen, but I don't think this defense has been bad.
Second and 8 from the Shelby 48. It's McDougal trying to work his way to the right slowly, over to the right hash, where he got tackled by 3 different Whippets. Samsel slow to get up, but eventually gets back to his feet. Michael Shepard in on the stop too. A gain of 3, third down and 5.
See Marcus Whipple, who's been playing center most of the day for Glenville, grabbing and pulling his running back, trying to get him downfield. That jersey looked like it stretched 2 feet.
Glenville has over 260 rushing yards in this game as Arvell Nelson tried a hard count and then looks back to the near sideline for a little clarity. Early fourth quarter. The Tarblooders have had their way with 24 unanswered points. They lead by that margin, 31-7. Nelson feeling some pressure, 6-show blitz, throws a quick slant to the left, and it's behind his receiver, incomplete. Think he was trying to get to Saffold, although, frankly, Paulie Sadler was also generally there. Kind of split the two of them, 4th and 5.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was behind Saffold or too far ahead of Sadler. I think it was intended for Saffold there. You mentioned the rushing yards for Glenville. Coach, again, on the teleconference this week, they talked about the new style of football and the spreading teams out and how he's adapted to that a little bit, but they still want to be a strong ground and pound running the football team, at least 60-40.
Nelson gives the ball to Landon Hearn, who started as the right wing back, slants to his left, he gets the ball, and he gets north and south across the 40, 35, and now the 30, where he's tackled on 4th and short for a gain of almost 16 yards. First down, Tarblooders to the 30-yard line.
Glenville has a host of athletes they can give the ball to. We've seen a lot of Phillips. We've seen a lot of Newell today, but we have seen some of Hearn and Harden getting the ball, whether it be out of the backfield or on a sweep. However, they've just got so many guys that they can utilize.
4th carry for Hearn, his first of the second half. 9:48 and counting in the fourth quarter. Glenville 31, Shelby 7 in the state title game. They hand again up the middle, and right now they're just content to basically try to keep the clock running. Not a lot of creativity there as 4 Whippet defenders got to him, including Wirtz.
You can see why Wirtz had over 143 tackles on the season. He is everywhere. We talked about Wirtz in 143, Samsel 126. I guarantee I've never seen a teammate pair with that many tackles.
143 for Wirtz, 126 for Samsel. 269 tackles between your two linebackers through 14 games. Yowza. Second down and 11 from the 31 with 9 minutes to play. Nelson fakes the handoff, rolls to his left. He's got receivers down the field, chucks it toward the end zone, and he overshoots him by 10 yards. Right idea for Nelson, but boy, he just launched a ball way out in front of Paulie Sadler, almost landed in a snow pile that's at least 5 yards out of bounds.
Great coverage over there by Braden DeVito on the play, and Nelson kind of hobbling right now. Something really bothering him. I believe that's his left leg that he's messing with. I don't know. I can't tell exactly, but yeah, something's bothering.
I think his foot slipped on that throw. So the clock stopped at 8:56. Third down and 11 for the Tar Blooders. Four-man rush, good clean pocket. Nelson steps into it, floats another one toward the back of the end zone. He's got him! Touchdown! What a beautiful throw! A strike to Saffold and a dagger for the Glenville State title quest.
And that's what good quarterbacks do right there. Your receiver wasn't open, so you throw him open. And he threw it far enough, knew Saffold could outrun the two defenders, and dropped it on a dime.
31 yards just to the left of the goalpost in the east end zone. Saffold, the Bowling Green commit, had it drop right in his basket. A great catch as he kept his feet in bounds in the back of the end zone with two defenders within a yard or so of him. Wasn't great coverage, but decent. Arvell Nelson, you described it perfectly, threw him open, and an excellent touchdown. 37-7 as the extra point is up and good. 38-7, and the clock will run. Glenville, what a turnaround. 31 unanswered points. Let's pause for these messages from the Ohio High School Athletic Association. You're listening to the OHSAA Radio Network, brought to you by Chocolate Milk.
Hey, Ohio, not every injury happens on the field. Car wrecks, hospital mistakes, slip and falls. When you're hurt, you need more than a quick sub off the bench. You need America's largest injury law firm. There's a reason Morgan & Morgan has over 1,000 lawyers and 100 offices nationwide. A reason we've recovered more than $30 billion for people just like you. And a reason we never charge a dime unless we win. Morgan & Morgan, proud sponsor of Ohio High School Athletics. Injured? Just dial pound law. Morgan & Morgan, Ohio office located at 600 Vine Street, Cincinnati. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Yes! Big money bet right there.
Dad, what's a big money bet? Can I do it?
Well, sweetie, betting is risky, so it's only for adults.
But I want to win money too.
I won this time, but I don't always win. That's why it's called gambling. And it's not for kids, okay?
Okay.
Let's just watch the game.
Youth who gamble are 4 times more likely to experience a gambling disorder as an adult. Be aware, check for risks, guide their choices, help prevent youth gambling. Visit ChangeTheGameOhio.org.
You practice hard, you play hard, you're always reaching for your goals. You reach for the next point, the next yard, the next win. And after the game, reach for low-fat chocolate milk. It has the fluids to rehydrate you, the right mix of protein and carbs to refuel you, and the vitamins and minerals to help you build strong bones and bodies. Fuel up with chocolate milk. For more information, visit drink-milk.com.
This is Archie Griffin, and you're listening to the OHSAA Radio Network.
Every kid that plays high school football in the state of Ohio dreams of becoming a state champion. And the Glenville Tar Blooders are on the precipice of, quite frankly, easy street here in the second half. 38-7, they are blowing out one of the great offenses anywhere in the state of Ohio on a remarkably impressive afternoon here in Canton. 8:12 left in regulation. It will be a running clock after we wrap the media timeout. Most recently, a 31-yard touchdown pass to Saffold Nelson with his second touchdown pass of the game. He hasn't been super efficient, 6 of 17 for 90 yards. Glenville's run it 38 times for 277, 2 Newell rushing touchdowns. But it's really been more about Glenville's defense. Shelby, this is amazing. Shelby's run 41 plays for 27 yards. They have 38 passing yards and negative 11 rushing yards. They are averaging less than half a yard per play when things are going straight ahead, let alone the negative plays. Totally overwhelming performance.
That might be one of the craziest stats I've ever heard. 43 plays?
41 plays
41
for
plays,
27
yards. Wow.
Glenville's defensive line and their interior offensive line have just flat out dominated this game. Here we go, kick from left to right, and Year Lemon sends a high, wobbly kick toward the 25-yard line, caught by Shelby, one of their up men. This is Griffin Yeager trying to cut it back inside. He ran a lot of lateral without getting up the field. He's at the 26-yard line and tackled there. First down, Whippets. The clock is running at 7 minutes, 42 seconds and counting. 38-7 Glenville, and I can't believe it, but there are some Whippet fans that look like they're heading for the exits.
And that's a little disappointing. Best school year in history for this Shelby team. There's still a lot of them sitting there. It's tough to lose. It's horrible, but there's still a lot to celebrate for this Shelby team right now.
Hall of Fame head coach Ted Ginn Sr. just turned 70 years young last week, and he's about to win his third state title. Trick play, Shepard wanted to let it fly in the backfield after a third handoff, and instead he goes down. He is tackled by Lorenzo Smith. Even the trick plays for Shelby right now are backfiring.
Shepard was going to throw that ball to DeVito. Carter Yancey saw it and blew that play up. It made Shepard wait just enough to not throw it, and then he gets taken down in the backfield. What a great, instinctive, heads-up football play by Carter Yancey.
6:35 and counting here in the fourth quarter. A lot of slow walking right now for the Whippets, who are just looking around, trying to figure out what they've got to do to come up with a big play. It is 2nd and 18 as DeVito takes the snap and goes to his right, puts his foot in the ground at the 20, out to the 25, wide of the hash mark and tackled. Tackled by Jalen Edwards back at the original line of scrimmage. He picks up all the yardage lost on that play in the backfield. It's now 3rd and 10.
You know, that's probably been their best play today as a quarterback power off tackle. It's been the one that's gotten them yards consistently the most. It's not gotten them a lot, but it's probably been their best move.
Bowman, Miller, Lambert, Shepard, all receiving options, trips wide to the left. 3rd and 10 from the right hash of their own 26. 3 down linemen, 2 linebackers in the box. Bowman goes from far to near side. DeVito looks underneath. He finds Bowman with a high pass that goes through his hands. It could have been picked by Aaron Scales. It was dropped. Scales doing push-ups as he's frustrated with himself because he had a house call. Incomplete. 4th and 10 with, again, a running clock. 38-7 Glenville, 5:20 to play.
Again, it's just the pressure. It doesn't quite get there, but it has DeVito going backwards as he's throwing. He's got to try to throw the ball high over the defender in his face, and it just causes him to throw that high over Bowman. The defensive pressure all game long.
Waiting for the play clock to wind down now inside 5 seconds. Shepard will punt it away from his own 16. Booms it down the field, not touched, bounced at the 31, then picked up at the 25. High tackle was missed. Stiff arm another one. Up the right side. Jalen Edwards with space. He's at the 40. He's at the 30. He's at the 20, and he's tackled from behind. A horse collar stop by Bryce Samsel at the 10-yard line. He was the only guy that could bring him down and prevent a second Glenville punt return for touchdown.
First of all, what a great return by Edwards as he makes the first man Griffin Yeager miss, and then he's down the sidelines. What an effort by Bryce Samsel. He looks like he can hardly walk out on that field right now. Who knows where he came from, how many yards he ran to run down Edwards there and not give up on that play and keep him out of the end zone. I mean, just a tremendous effort from number 22 on the far sideline.
Chase Youngblood has come in, the freshman quarterback, to close things out here. And here Lemon is late coming in off the sideline to play tight end. Uriah Weber, the senior tailback, stands back there too. 3-receiver look, and this play is blown dead for a delay of game.
5-yard penalty, first down.
Let's go down really quickly to Chris. Chris, go ahead.
We've already chronicled it throughout the afternoon, the number of players that came from Cleveland, Glenville that have played in the NFL, guys who have played just incredible careers. But did you know that the actual Superman, some of these guys picture themselves, but the actual Superman, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, are the creators of Superman in 1933 when they were both students at Cleveland Glenville High School. So Superman came to life at Glenville High School long, long ago.
Yeah, and it's terrible that they never really got credit for that until at least 40 years later. It's a great story and also kind of a sad story, but Superman, of course, certainly calls Cleveland home. And right now, I think Superman calls Glenville High School home. 38-7 in the final 2.5 minutes ticking down on this running clock. On 1st and 10, Youngblood hands it off. Weber's bursting forward. He scores! How about that? From 14 yards out, Glenville empties the bench, and they still find their way in the end zone. 44-7.
We talked earlier about Uriah Weber and the violence that he was blocking with. You just saw some of that violence that he runs the football with there too, as he drug 2-3 Shelby defenders into the end zone with him. What a powerful run from Uriah Weber.
Glenville lost in the state semifinal last year to Perkins in Sandusky, who was ultimately the state runner-up to Indian Valley. Glenville won the state title in 22, the first inner-city Cleveland school to win a state championship in football. They backed it up in 23. They were one step away from coming back to Canton in 24, and they have gotten back to the mountaintop here with an unbelievable performance. They've scored 44 points, now with an extra point, 45, and 38 of them are unanswered. After 15 yards of total offense in the first quarter, Glenville now has 381 for the game.
We talked about it's the body blows. The play after play after play after play, it gets to you and wears you down.
I think it's an appropriate time when we have a quick minute here to acknowledge the impact that Ted Ginn Sr. has had on Glenville High School. Next year will be his 50th year coaching at Glenville. He just turned 70 years old, graduated from Glenville in the mid-70s. This is a guy who has been a stalwart in his community. He is a Hall of Fame head coach. He's a gentleman and somebody that Glenville High School is proud to have leading this program. And gosh, in today's day and age, you need people that young people can look to. And I think Glenville looks at Ted Ginn Sr. and says, you know, we want you to be the model for our kids.
How many young men in Cleveland wouldn't have the life that they do now if it wasn't for Ted Ginn Sr.?
Without question. And so much of it will never be documented because he doesn't want it to be, because he's such a humble guy. Across the 20-yard line on the kick return, we're in the final minute. I mean, Coach Ginn has driven buses of kids to camps all across the country to try to get his guys in front of college coaches that can change the lives of the Tar-Blood or student athletes. 45-7 Glenville with 40 seconds and counting here. Shelby can probably run one play if they'd like. Otherwise, it's party time.
And Ted Ginn realizes that the community looks to that team for hope. He talked about it, and he says that they want to be the example. They want to be respectful. They want to play and have class, and the Glenville team and the students starting to celebrate.
The way the clock worked out, they do not have to run a play. The referees didn't wind it until after it was under 25. So the final 10 seconds are ticking off. Glenville is erupting on the near sideline. I don't know if you want to call it a dynasty, but these are the golden years of Glenville football. Cleveland, you have another state championship. Glenville 45, Shelby 7. The Whippets on the far side of the field, clad in red, lining up at the midfield stripe, starting to shake hands as Glenville gathers on the near side in ecstasy at what they've achieved.
And we just talked about class and respect and being the example, and boy, did you just see it. So the teams are lining up, some of the players, a lot of the players right around the 25, 20-yard line where that ball was, congratulating, shaking hands, hugging, just beautiful sportsmanship and respect out of both teams here at the end of a very hard-fought game.
While the teams shake hands after this state championship victory for Glenville, we pause for these messages from the Ohio High School Athletic Association. You're listening to the OHSAA Radio Network, fueled by chocolate milk.
Here's to the ones who put in the work, the no days off, rise and grind warriors who live by the oath of my body is my temple. And when their temple needs to rebuild after a long workout, athletes of all types choose low-fat chocolate milk. It's delicious and contains the right mix of protein and carbs to help refuel exhausted muscles. Chocolate milk turns Motivation Monday into Flex Friday. Crush your goals with the help of a real recovery drink. Try it for yourself. Built with chocolate milk, the official beverage of high school sports, is brought to you by the American Dairy Association Mideast.
You can stream the game on your phone while you're gardening. You can stream it while you walk the dog. You can stream it at a trampoline park. You can even stream it at a monster truck rally. But the second you get behind the wheel, the game's over. Remember, Ohio, phones down. It's the law.
EA Graphics is the official state tournament merchandise partner of the Ohio High School Athletic Association. EA Graphics is on-site at OHSAA tournament contests with t-shirts, sweatshirts, hats, and many other apparel items. And it doesn't end when the tournament is over. Check out OHSAA tournament merchandise online at shopohsaa.com. That's shopohsaa.com. EA Graphics and the OHSAA wear a piece of history.
Former Ohio State and NFL quarterback Bobby Hoy.
Growing up in Ohio, the lessons I learned through sports not only helped take me to the Ohio State University and the NFL, but they also apply every day in my career after sports. Lessons that build character, discipline, sportsmanship, and teamwork are what remain long after your playing days are over. Through interscholastic athletics, OHSAA member schools help kids build a foundation for a lifetime of success.
This message brought to you by the Ohio High School Athletic Association. School sports aren't just extracurricular. They are extra important. Find out more at ohsaa.org.
What a celebration for the Glenville Tarblooders. For the third time in 4 seasons, Glenville, kings of the OHSAA, they are your 2025 state champions at Division IV. Shelby and Glenville have already concluded the handshake lines, and the teams have separated on the field. As you can imagine, Glenville is ecstatic at what they've accomplished and having a great time celebrating a worthy success. Shelby right now, gosh, it feels like they look like they ran into the buzzsaw that Glenville provided. And the stats from this game would indicate that Glenville had a remarkable edge. 381 yards of offense, 291 on the ground. Shelby had 27 yards of total offense, negative 11 rushing yards. Let's go down to the trophy presentation down on the field.
From Shelby High School. Joining Ohio High School Athletic Association Executive Director Doug Hute is OHSAA Board of Directors President Walt Skaggs. They will present the Division IV State Runner-Up Trophy.
Coach Mahaney, you talked earlier in the week about two things. One thing you talked about is about the community of Shelby and how they embrace their sports, their athletes at their school. What a ride, young men, you took your community on. The other thing that you mentioned is about your seniors, 18 seniors in this group. And I had a pleasure of watching your regional semifinal last year at Arlen Field, one of the best games I've seen in high school football. And from that moment, after that loss, your 18 seniors made a pact and embraced. They're going to take this program to a different level, a level it hadn't been at. So let's talk a little bit about your season. 2 straight 10-0 seasons, undefeated regular season. Have a school record for the most wins in the history of Shelby football. You won 12 games this year with a running clock, 4 in the playoffs. It's the second time that this program's in the Final Four, but it's the first time, and only the third time in Richland County history, that a team from Shelby is playing for the state championship. I'm joined by Walt Skaggs, who's our board president and the superintendent of St. Clairsville Schools. And on behalf of our member schools, our board of directors, and the staff at the OHSAA, we're honored to give Shelby Whippets football the 2025 Division IV State Runner-Up Trophy. Congratulations.
It is a bittersweet day for the Whippets for sure. This is not how they envisioned today's state championship game to go, led by the great quarterback Braden DeVito. He'll go down as one of the all-time greats in OHSAA history, but he just didn't have a good day. 3 for 18 for 38 yards, and an interception, was sacked 4 times. Glenville's defense was just remarkable as Shelby finishes as a state runner-up.
This is the best season they've ever had in program history. The first time they've ever been here. The winningest senior class in the history of Shelby High School. Man, it stings. And it hurts right now, and it's probably like -5 on that field with the temperature. It's a lot colder, but this is a great season and so much that they can look back on and reflect on and celebrate.
Tip of the cap to Coach Mahaney and company on a great year. As we go back downstairs to recognize the Glenville Tar Blazers.
Executive Director Doug Hute, his OHSAA staff member Ronald Sayers, and OHSAA Board of Directors member Randy TV-Paw, who will present the Division IV State Championship Trophy.
What a season for the Tar Blooders. 12-3 on the year, on the backs of a defense who only gave up 10 points a game. The only 3 blemishes you had were against the Division II state semifinalist, a Division II state champion, and a Division I state finalist. Coach Ginn, you have a senior class who's had 4 years that can go against anybody who's in the state. 41-9 in total on those 4 years. 3 trips to the state finals, 4 years in a row in the state semifinals. And you end today with your school's 3rd state championship trophy. I'm joined today by Randy TV-Paw of our board of directors. It is our honor, on behalf of our staff, our board of directors, and our 815 member high schools, to present to you the Division IV State Championship Trophy.
What a celebration for the Glenville Tar Blooders and their senior class, who are standing atop the OHSAA for the 3rd time in their 4-year high school career as they overwhelm the Shelby Whippets 45-7. We'll bring our final thoughts back with you after this quick timeout. Let's pause for these messages from your local station. You're listening to the OHSAA Radio Network.
Health Action Council is a member-driven, not-for-profit organization that provides employers with best practices for a healthy workforce through leadership, innovative services, and collaboration. Health Action Council works with employers to improve the quality, cost, and value of healthcare. The Ohio High School Athletic Association and Health Action Council invite all Ohio schools to join us for the Healthy Kids Step It Up Challenge. Find out details at healthykidsgo.org.
Hi, I'm Anthony Munoz. I didn't make it into the Pro Football Hall of Fame by letting drugs and alcohol affect my ability to play. I brought my A game every time, and that's what you should do when sharing the road. That means never getting behind the wheel under the influence and wearing your seatbelt, because it's always the best defense against a drunk driver. So whether you're driving around town or to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, never let impaired driving take you out of the game.
This message brought to you by the Ohio Department of Public Safety.
Jim Lachey, Ohio State football All-American and NFL Super Bowl champion on Achievement.
Hi, I'm Jim Lachey. Studies show that students who play school sports tend to have better attendance records, higher grade point average, fewer discipline problems, and are more likely to pursue a college education. High school sports also teaches leadership, character, and provide the foundation for becoming a good citizen. Let's respect the game, and remember to always keep the student first and student athlete.
This message brought to you by the Ohio High School Athletic Association.
So why do teenagers play high school sports?
My reason why is a sense of purpose.
My reason why is to inspire others.
One reason student athletes seldom mention is to get an athletic scholarship. They know that only 2% of all high school athletes are awarded a sports scholarship. So why do they play?
My reason why is friendship.
Tell us your reason using the hashtag #MyReasonWhy.
This message presented by the NFHS and the Ohio High School Athletic Association.
Glenville Tarblooders with their third state championship in school history, all of them since the start of the 2022 season, as they cap off a memorable day here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Glenville 45, Shelby 7. And I'll tell you what, Ryan, as we wait to try and talk to somebody down on the field, I'm drawn to thinking about the way they defended the run in the state semifinals and in this state championship. Glenville held Ohio's Mr. Football, Indian Valley running back Grady Kinsey, to his lowest yard per carry last week since Kinsey's sophomore season. And this is a kid who became the all-time leading rushing scoring holder in OHSAA history, and they made him look reasonably pedestrian for a guy who is far from it and on his way to Air Force. And then today, to take out one of the great quarterbacks we have ever seen, who has eviscerated teams his whole career and completely take him out of the game, I think is an incredible tribute to the physicality and, quite frankly, the speed of this Glenville defense.
Pretty sure the coaches at Air Force hope they don't have to play Cleveland Glenville next year with Braden DeVito and Grady Kinsey heading there to play football.
Let's go down to Chris Solwecki, who I imagine is standing by with a very happy Ted Ginn Sr.
No question about it, Coach. Congratulations. 3 championships in 4 years. Way to go.
Yeah, thank you, man. I'm proud of the kids. I'm proud of the program, the coaches, and everybody. So it's huge.
Talk a little bit about how this one unfolded, because the first quarter it seemed like you were kind of nose to nose with Shelby, but then as the game wore on, it felt like your physicality really set the tone.
Yeah, well, I just think that sometimes, when you're in big games like that, you think you have to do something different. Just do what you basically do every week. Just do what we do, and let's just run the rock. You know what I'm saying? And it was sometimes you get cute, So. And that was the difference.
Don't want to get cute. You just want to play the football game. And you've got some animals here to do that job. Sincere played a great game. You had some great running backs. Talk a little bit about some of these key players.
Yeah, well, Sincere and JJ and Paulie and CJ, all those guys been in the program. I've been knowing these kids since they were 7, 8 years old. To see them stick together and achieve something like this is huge.
Well, I know you want to celebrate with your kids, so I'll let you go, but really appreciate your time, and congratulations again.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hall of Famer Ted Ginn Sr., who is going to ride the bus with the Walnut and Bronze back home with his guys here in just a little while.
We talked about the Shelby senior class in how good they were in the all-time winningest class and the best team in school history. Well, this Glenville senior class has 3 state championships now in these last 4 years, and a lot of these guys that he just mentioned Sincere Johnson, Chris Newell, they were 3-year starters for this team. A lot of these guys have been an integral part of this 3 state championships. So this senior class for Glenville, as decorated as any of them. And earlier Chris talked about Superman being born at Cleveland Glenville High School. Well, I don't know if there's a kryptonite for this Glenville group because they have just been dynamite.
I'm looking for a better transition than this, but we'll go back down to the sideline. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's Chris Silwecki for his final thoughts.
Yeah. Well, guys, we started this football game talking about the Shelby Whippets offensive proficiency, 45.5 points per game on offense, holding teams to 8.5 points per game on defense. And you see what Cleveland Glenville was able to do against this vaunted offense today on both sides of the ball. It's just really, really an impressive performance by the Tarblooders, who have gone from having good teams to building a very solid, very good program in Cleveland Glenville. So congratulations to Coach Ginn and the rest of the players on a fantastic game and a fantastic 4 years.
Defensive-minded, frankly. Shelby gave up the first score of the game on a 92-yard punt return for touchdown by Jaquan Gibson. They answered, thanks in part, admittedly, to a couple of penalties by Glenville. They eventually scored on a 5-play, 58-yard drive to knot the game at 7 apiece with 11:39 to go in the second quarter. And it was as if that moment ignited something in Glenville that they just never let die. Lemon, Newell, Saffold, and Weber all scored a variety of touchdowns and a couple of big plays. Lemon also kicked a field goal. They had 38 unanswered points in this 45-7 lopsided state championship game. What a performance individually by Rommel Phillips. 14 carries for $133. Newell had 9 carries for 81 and 2 scores. Arvell Nelson guided the offense, 6 for 17, throwing it 90 yards, 2 touchdowns, no sacks. Joseph Saffold, 3 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown. On the flip side, Braden DeVito finishes his high school career on a sour note, 3 for 18. He was sacked 4 times. He threw 1 interception and did not score. Luke Blevins ended up being Shelby's best ball carrier on the 17-yard scurry that he had over on the left side on the play that was originally a touchdown and overruled by video review. If you take that one play out on the ground, Shelby had negative 28 rushing yards. If you remove that 17-yard carry, I mean, just amazing the way Glenville controlled the line of scrimmage from the outset. Your final thoughts, Ryan, on a day where the Tarblooders reign supreme?
Brendan, 27 yards, 44 plays, 27 yards. That's what Glenville gave up today. Coming into today, the least ever in a state championship game in Division IV was 79. That was Kenton versus Portsmouth West.
Goodness gracious.
The least ever in a state championship game, any division,
wow,
was 30. That was Tiffin Calvert against Newark Catholic in 1980.
So this
Glenville
best
defense
performance
is the best ever in the state at a state championship game, any division, any team ever, period. I think that has as much to say about this game. It's more to say about this game and this Glenville team than I ever could.
Listen, offense is fun, and Shelby's offense was as incredible as you could hope for the last 4 years. But when they met up with a defense that is built to win a championship, Glenville was overwhelmingly powerful. Outstanding. Once again, the final score in this OHSAA Division IV State Championship Final. Glenville 45, Shelby 7. Tune back into the OHSAA Radio Network at about 2:40 Eastern Time for the Division III title game. Bishop Watterson and Toledo Central Catholic for the third straight year will square off after splitting the last two titles. Can't wait to see that one coming up here this afternoon. On behalf of OHSAA Executive Director Doug Ute, Radio Network Executive Producer Tim Streed, our on-site producer Aaron Cassidy, and of course for Ryan Baker and for Chris Solwecki, I'm Brendan Gulick. Congratulations to the Glenville Tarblooders, state champions for the third time in the last 4 years. You've been listening to the OHSAA Radio Network, this presentation fueled by chocolate milk.
We thank you for joining us for this special presentation of the iMedia One Network, and we now return you to your regularly scheduled programming.
To the stations that are always ahead of the game. Western Reserve Radio, Western Reserve Radio 2, and City View Sportscast. Youngstown, Ohio.
Or emotions that me, Natalie, is very comfortable portraying, which is usually just annoyment